teams from around the world aren't just playing for themselves. They're fighting for their flag, their people, their pride. Teams brawled through the Spring Split monthly finals. They earned their place here at the Brawl Cup and now stand ready to represent their region on a global stage. With 2 LCQ slots and 1 World Final slot on the line, this weekend will shape the competitive scene for the rest of the year.
Here comes the Mo, Luffy taken down by Joker, but now it's Lenar, and it's not enough! Turret to use, Humble, 50%, Crazy Raccoon have fallen short!
From the heart of Dallas, Texas, let the battle of the regions begin.
Hats, boots, and Brawl Stars. Some things just go together perfectly. Things are buzzing here at DreamHack Dallas already, and we're preparing to put the 8 best Brawl Stars teams through their paces for glory, bragging rights, and an extra slot at the World Championship for their region. I'm Sunny, and at my side today I have Reddy and Ark. What's one thing you two are secretly hoping to see today? Is it going to be an underdog win, a favorite pick you're waiting for, anything?
I want to see the hometown heroes take it home. I would love to see a tribe victory. I want to see Elevate do something on the big stage in their first ever LAN.
Biased caster, but hey, we're allowed to be today, and I love that about the Brawl Cup. And yeah, I want to see mainland China do pretty well, actually. I feel like they've been gravitating towards success, and I want to see an upset like that.
We would love to see some upsets once again. We had many of those already in the monthly finals. We're going to get to that a little later, so stay tuned. It's definitely worth it. First up, we have 8 teams from 6 different regions here ready. Take us through.
Let's start in East Asia, where we see Zeta Division as the qualifying team. Then over to South America with Loud. Over to Southeast Asia with Revenant X-Park. And then the Chinese mainland contributed Toxic Lotus. Over in EMEA, it was SK Gaming and Humble to make it. And in North America, Tribe Gaming and Elevate.
So stacked, and again, so much is on the line here. The opportunity to bring home a slot for your region, the World Finals at LCQ, and the narratives, the storylines that we can have off the back of those things. I mean, the possibilities are kind of endless.
We wanted to have a little look at just at which of those modes we have in Brawl Stars, which teams are best in. And it showed that 3 of the teams that are qualified for this weekend are best in many of those modes, especially Humble. All 3 of those teams are very, very good in gem grab, but they reached 100% win rate. I don't think we've ever seen that before already.
No, I don't think so. And if you've been doing your Brawl Stars homework, then you'll remember that Humble actually took 2nd seed in the region. They've never conceded a gem grab game against SK Gaming, the #1 seed from EMEA, so that speaks volumes. But we look over at Zeta Division, over at Tribe Gaming, that speaks regional dominance.
Maybe we just need to make a whole tournament around gem grab. I'm sure yes. Humble would love that, Ark.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. My eyes are going to be firmly on that mode when it comes around for Humble. You know, are they going to topple? Are they going to keep that till the end of the tournament? We'll see.
We're going to see. And we also wanted to hear from the players what they expect from today. Not only from the 2 of you, you can yap all day long still. We wanted to hear it from our players, from those 8 teams that are here this weekend.
Cuando clasificamos, como que ya lo esperaba, pues como que ganó la primera y ya como que la segunda había incertidumbre si habíamos clasificado o no, pero pues cuando clasificamos sentí que era algo que teníamos que hacer, como que si no clasificamos era como una decepción, yo creo.
Elevate showed up unexpectedly from our region, and I think people expected SSG to qualify or KCP, but they have been doing a pretty good work, so they deserve to be here.
I think we have a good preparation. I feel like we are confident. In LAN we play good most of the time, so I think we're gonna win.
I hope we get at least day 3. That would be the minimum goal, and then yeah, obviously everything else.
And my goal would be to not lose a single set.
I mean, I think everyone has one set for that.
That would be insane.
For sure.
So I think we're winning.
Not losing a single game.
Yeah.
Mano, eu tô na expectativa de jogar contra a Tribe.
Eu também,
por causa da rivalidade.
Essa rivalidade South América e Norte América me apetece.
Nós vai separar os homens e meninos.
E você, pai?
Não, eu quero jogar contra os melhores, mas é a Zeta Division, né? Não é a Tribe, não.
Não é, não? Não é só... Você já tá em outro nível.
Você já tá no
Prime.
No mata-mata. Já tá pensando no mata-mata.
Beleza, essas são as ideias.
黑马只能是我们的吧？
我们队吧。
如果有一个黑马的话，那一定是我们。
我们是最适合当黑马的。
Toxic Lotus calls themselves the Dark Horses. Let's see if they can shine. I know one here at the desk is hoping for them to show off what their region can really do.
Yeah, I think that, they've got a really good chance. When you've looked at how well they've been performing over the years and just gradually getting better and better, looking at last year's, the LCQ, knocking down Navi, I think that Toxic Lotus really are that dark horse in this competition. And after speaking to some of the players as well, they seem to think the same. The scrims are looking kind of interesting in that respect.
Ready for you? What was the expectation that you were surprised about, or maybe that you shared?
Nah, I think really the main expectation here is that we see SK be one of the front runners in the competition. Listen to that confidence that they had as well. We can talk about underdogs. Everyone loves an underdog story, but when we shift our focus to who we think is really going to take this overall, we got to be looking at the EMEA region. We have to look at East Asia and what they are contributing to the competition today.
I mean, you two know me. I'm definitely looking forward to some close games today. I hope we are going to see only 3-2s all day. So I'm already sorry, your day is going to be a little longer, but we are going to have some banger matchups. And I'm super excited that every single one of the teams believes they have what it takes to take that World Championship slot home to their region, and they're confident that they can do it. First up though, we had 3 months already, 3 monthly finals, and we had a little look at which players, or which brawlers were picked the most. Interestingly enough, Reddy, for all of the regions, we had the same 3 brawlers at the top.
So in dark, secret, clandestine circles, they call this the meta. These are the top brawlers in the game right now, but also it comes with a caveat. These are the ones that sneak through the ban phase as well. Keep in mind, this is our data from April as well. Very much a Hank meta. I would still rank him as a top brawler right now, but there's some other things that are a higher priority when it comes to that pick and ban phase.
I mean, Hank has been a menace. There's no denying that at all. Of course, the hypercharge now just being toned down slightly has put him into a better place. But I think we're still going to see a fair showing of Hank. And Carl has got those weaknesses also. I mean, from most played as well, we've had some substantial bans along the course of this half of the season so far as well. And, for sure, Lumi up there, 99% as a ban is quite incredible.
Even though the top 3 pick and bans were the same amongst all of the regions we had, all 6 of them, we still had some signature brawlers. We all can't forget that Shade in March from Stetampo. We know that EMEA picked a lot more mech than any other region, and Juju was picked up more often than from any other region in South America. I do hope we still get to see a little spice, a little flavor from those different regions, but I do think we have a top 10 that is going to be picked or banned also for this weekend, Ready.
That is absolutely correct. With Lumi also receiving a bit of a nerf, we might get to see some action from her, so that 99% is probably going to be disrupted. Other brawlers I'm looking at as the top in the game. We got some new hypercharges in the game as well that I think are worth a discussion.
New hypercharges and a new brawler that is now finally live. We can play him in this competition for the very first time on a big stage. It's Jay Youngark.
Yeah, Jay Young, I feel, is probably going to be very substantial in Brawl Ball. I want to see a lot of him being banned out there, but certainly the big surprise for me was just how much Lily has shot up in the play rates and the picks and bans. I think we're going to be seeing a great amount of her. Her mode was probably always best in Heist, and now really I want to see that as a solid banned out brawler. And Kenji, how many of the pro scene players have been complaining about Kenji as a real menace, a thorn in their side? So another tank to join what is already a very tank-heavy meta to consider here. So the picks and bans have never been more important to get right.
I'm super excited for today. Those 2 brawlers that we're looking at right now have received their hypercharges in a batch of 7. Ready? Do you feel like we're also going to see the other 5?
I think so. I think, for example, a brawler like Amber is one that we can expect to see today. She was already pretty good. Okay, then she sort of fell off a little bit because the brawlers are starting to get a hypercharge. But folks, we're reaching the singularity. There are only 18 brawlers left in the game that don't have a hypercharge. But for some of them, it's still not required. Jaeyong, for example, is so strong in spite of not having a hyper.
We wanted to ask all of our community what they think is most exciting about this weekend, and we're going to have a look at it right now. You had the chance to post on any social, #BrawlCup, and we have some snippets also from our players. OP, a player from SK Gaming Arc. What is he saying?
He's going to cook, and I believe that he will. I mean, you've got to remember, for a man like OPE, his 2 monthly final wins have come this year, which I think many people didn't even realize come February monthly finals when he won his first monthly final. We kind of all expected him to have won in the past because he's just been so present and so prevalent in Brawl esports. So I, for one, agree. I think he is going to cook.
He's replacing Lena in that roster. He and Joker now are playing the aggressive brawlers. I'm super excited to see them. And they're also going to be our first match of the day. But no spoilers here. We also have the org itself posting something ready.
Very matter of fact there. In case you missed it, it's Brawl Cup Day. But for SK Gaming, this is the day that they show up and they just get it done. For them, maybe it's just another Friday because they are the repeat winners in this region. And check it out, they're in the festive regalia. I know they paid a visit down to like Wild Bill's West store to get some hats as well. So mad respect to them as a Texan for dressing up and doing their part.
At least you made Reddy happy.
Yeah, I was tempted to go there myself, actually, but we ran out of time with a lot of the media stuff. But Humble, we've got to talk about this team because these are the reigning champions of the world. And the big question that I have coming into this competition is, are they still on top of all the other regions? They are ready today. Brawl Cup, here we go. And relaxing in the hot tub, what better way to spend your time before the Brawl Cup starts?
Get a little bit of chillaxing, maxing in as well, but Tribe Gaming, they've been doing media day before getting their scrims in as well. Once again, it's just another day for Tribe Gaming. Now, they have spent a little bit of time before they've played in a major competition. Last time we saw them was in Worlds. They did pretty well, especially for a team that was looking quite fresh into the LAN scene.
Barker from Eclipse or Esport, just hashtag SKWin. Clearly some big support coming from the same region as Eclipse obviously didn't quite make it to this stage, but nonetheless they are cheering for their home region, and that's what makes the Brawl Cup so special. Everyone is looking to get that additional slot and more opportunity going forwards into the season.
It is an interesting one because the 1 month that SK Gaming actually didn't end up winning their monthly final, it was Eclipse are taking it. Now they're rooting for their arch enemies, it seems. Super exciting that, yeah, home region are going to support each other. Makes a lot of sense because, again, the winner of this whole tournament takes home a World Championship slot for their region. So, of course, if I play an EMEA, I want an EMEA team to win. If you're an NA caster, he's very biased towards NA teams. That's just how we are here over in Brawl Stars. If you watch at home right now, or you have your phones out and they're sitting right next to us, make sure to head over to event.brawlstars.com to get your predictions in. You can earn some Pro Pass XP. It goes towards your Pro Pass. And you can get some star drops. You can get the Astral Cold Skin. So make sure to do that right now. Right, guys?
Yes.
Right now.
We're
going to be back in a...
Come on. 一颗龙马，一口吞下威武的大蟒蛇，无所不在，一望无际，谁敢惹我太扯？能收能放，飞天翻江，无敌的大蟒蛇，降龙伏虎，可缩可伸，要你拿我没辙。一颗龙马，一口吞下威武的大蟒蛇，无所不在，一望无际，谁敢惹我太扯？能收能放，飞天翻江，无敌的大蟒蛇。降龙伏虎，可缩可伸，要你拿我没辙。缠着他死都不放，逃不了任何方向。我要的东西，克服难题，一定落在我手上。妹妹别怕我没毒，别吓得一塌糊涂，让你认为我可靠，让我拥抱和大埋葬。无声无息我侵入，超神秘学好舒服，无法阻挡，无可抵抗，还不如尽量的享受独一无二的力量。害得你飞天翻墙，遍体舒畅，把眼翻上，我要的你尝不尝？我会渐渐抓住你，没有前兆，无声无息听不到我的心跳，你会永远逃不了我的怀抱，躲也躲不过，服不服了我 ？Let's go！ 一颗龙马，一口吞下威武的大蟒蛇，无所不在，一望无际，谁敢惹我太扯？能收能放，飞天翻江，无敌的大蟒蛇，降龙伏虎，可缩可伸，要你拿我没辙。一颗龙马，一口吞下威武的大蟒蛇，无所不在，一望无际，谁敢惹我太扯？能收能放，飞天翻江，无敌的大蟒蛇，降龙伏虎，可缩可伸，要你拿我没辙。谁敢侵犯我地盘，我就会给你好看。开山大道黑仗火炮嘎架，你敢不敢？我警告你撤不撤？会不会察言观色？离开这里，这里最近关键在这一刻。12生肖我最大，属牛虎兔都小咖。抬开耳骨，大口吞下，嘴角再擦一擦。独一无二的力量，为我能钻地爬墙。有粗有长，能缩能长，你说我像不像？我会渐渐抓住你，没有前兆，无声无息听不到我的心跳，你会永远逃不了我的怀抱。
thousands of players began their journey through this year's competitive season, and now just 8 teams from 6 regions will step out onto this stage to prove themselves worthy. Make no mistake, these players are competing for more than just their trio. They are fighting for their region. It is going to get tribal up here on the main stage, and I cannot wait. So, to fully grasp how we got here today, why don't we wind the clocks back and remind ourselves of the journey from the online qualifier to the Brawl Cup.
Man, this is going to be wild.
Dude, they're fighting over additional regional slots. It's going to be nuts. It's a first.
How did we even get here? Yeah. No, seriously, how did we get here?
Dude, we did the same shows.
Just asking for a friend.
Right. Okay, well, if I was going to explain it to your friend, it would go something like this. It all started like this. Cole was like, pew, pew, pew. And then Elp. Whoa. That was weird.
This isn't the first time I've seen that before. You just lagged IRL.
Yeah, I felt that. But that's impossible because we don't lag here at the BSC, Kenny. Well, anyway, as I was saying, in EMEA, we had an absolute masterpiece of a grand final between SK Gaming and Humble. SK Gaming are looking better than ever, and this is Humble's chance to prove to the world that they are still on top. Loud emerged from an absolute roller coaster of a monthly final in South America with a close win. The hopes of South America are pinned on their backs, and we'll no doubt see what they're made of. And then we have Tribe Gaming of North America with yet another dominant performance as they remain undefeated. Elevate follows closely behind with their consistent hold of second place.
And then?
They were literally your games.
True. Well, I can break down the ones that I didn't cast.
This man's not real.
In East Asia. In East Asia, we witnessed another dominant showing from Zeta as the Mechanical Wizards laid 3-0s in their wake. And yes, their love for Shade has yet to fade. In Chinese mainland, the grueling competition within the region gave us the best they have to offer, Toxic Lotus. It's going to be exciting to see how they'll fare against the rest of the world. Further down south, we have Revenant X-Spark who won the LPL, being the main representative of the South Asia region. It's going to be interesting to see what this budding team has in store for us this Brawl Cup.
Man, this is going to be awesome.
With so many contenders, I honestly have no idea who's going to win.
Well, without further ado, these are our finalists.
Coming to you live from the city that brought us the microchip, laser tag, and Post Malone, welcome to DreamHack Dallas, and welcome to the Brawl Cup. My name is Barney Banks, and I am your host, and over the course of this weekend, our teams are going to be fighting for more than just money, more than pride. Yes, this competition is a battle of regions, and so with that being said, if you're at home or if you're right here at DreamHack, it's time to kick off the Brawl Cup.
Welcome to Dallas, Texas, hosting the very first battle of the regions, where 8 teams from around the world aren't just playing for themselves. They're fighting for their flag, their people, their pride. Teams brawled through the Spring Split monthly finals. They earned their place here at the Brawl Cup and now stand ready to represent their region on a global stage. With 2 LCQ slots and 1 World Final slot on the line, this weekend will shape the competitive scene for the rest of the year.
Here comes the Mo, Luffy taken down by Joker, but now it's Lenar, and it's not enough. Turret to use, Humble, 50%, Crazy Raccoon have fallen short.
From the heart of Dallas, Texas, let the battle of the regions begin.
We're live from the Lone Star State, and halfway through the BSC season, we've narrowed the field to the 8 best teams from across the globe. These teams have made their way here to DreamHack Dallas to battle for an additional world slot for their own region. For the next 3 days, this is the epicenter of Brawl Stars esports. It's time to reignite old rivalries and spark new ones. Folks, settle up for the very first Brawl Cup. Now, gentlemen, I hope you brought your best boots today.
Okay. You know what? The boots are going to be safe for day number 2 and 3. I brought my Texas regalia. I'm a native Texan. This is really how we dress.
Are you going to be able to stretch your leg up onto the desk to show us?
I will.
I want to see that.
I will get my lunges
The
in
NA
before
guy
the show.
doesn't even have his boots ready. Ark, are you ready for today?
Oh, I've been born ready for this. I think it's a fantastic format for the BSC, and I cannot wait to see how it unfolds.
Well, this is going to be a banger. Let's start off with the format. We split all of these 8 teams into 2 different groups, A and B. Each of those groups will play GSL format. It's like a double elimination bracket, and the top 2 from each group are going to make it into the top 4. From there on, they'll play in a single elimination bracket, and that is when the prizes start to come in. It's all about those World Finals and LCQ slots for the winners.
Yeah, that is the main story here. The winner, of course, getting a slot for those World Finals, and of course the LCQ following that for 2nd and 3rd. And here we have our groups. In Group A, of course, elevates from North America, Revenant, X-Spark, SK Gaming, and Zeta Division there. Group B, Humble, Loud, Toxic Lotus, and Tribe Gaming.
Yeah, we have those 2 groups ready, and you better get your predictions ready right now. We're going to have a look at what they said a little later. First up, I want to know what you at home on your screens say. You can vote right now to get some Pro Pass XP going for your Pro Pass, and you can get some star drops. You can get the Astral's Cold Skin. You can get some pins, so you better get that going right now. Now, also new, we don't have a cap anymore, so you can earn some points with every single vote you write, not just until 1,000 points or whatsoever. Looking at the predictions now from our casters, we seem to agree pretty much. What's Barney doing on that match 4 though?
I'm a little mystified as well. I think Barney thinks that this is going to be the time that Loud really shows us what they're made of, because in the past, South America has struggled to perform on the international stage, and Tribe Gaming actually was looking a bit dubious in those scrims.
I'm just laughing because that's the first time seeing our headshots, by the way, and they are brilliant. Top notch, absolutely love it.
I had to pull it together here as well. Yeah, we love those shots, don't we? Now, heading into match number 1. We already seen what we all said. SK might win this one. I do think their opponent could cause an upset today, would be a big one. SK Gaming looking very strong currently. 1-2 of their monthly finals, one of the only ones to do that in their own region ready. They're looking on fire.
We've seen their performance as of late, but we already started to get a whisper of this as we headed into the season. They won the Champions Invitational before the season even got started. And as soon as Ope joined this roster in place of Lena, we were seeing a reunion between him and Yoshi from that historic grudge match that we saw back in 2023.
We wanted to get a little insight for the players themselves. I hope they're ready.
The match against Revenant will be very exciting because my teammates want a revenge against Zar, and yeah, I've never played against that team, so I'm also excited for that one.
We call them the Kingslayers arc. Would you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
I mean, for good reason. You know, when you look back to the February monthly finals, beating Humble, not just once, but then twice as well. And it was a closer scoreline in April to a 3-2 scoreline, but nonetheless, you know, they're getting their revenge over Humble, the team that they lost to in the semi-finals of the World Finals 2024.
So they beat 1 World Final champions. They also beat Foot Esports back then Zeta Division. So they beat not 1, but 2 in their own home region. Now, on the other side of the ring, we have Revenant X-Spark ready. This team could cause one of the biggest upsets today.
And they have caused an upset in the past. If we flash back to last year, they managed to take down Crazy Raccoon in their home region. We know that these guys are on the cusp of greatness. That's because they almost made it to the last chance qualifier last year, but it was only by a single point that they missed that mark.
Absolutely brutal, isn't it, really? To just come 1 point shy and then have to, you know, go around the whole entire year yet again to redeem themselves. But that's what they're here to do today. And with Zar coming into this roster, who I think is going to sit in really nicely, this is actually a roster that's quite scary to a lot of regions now.
We also had the chance to sit down with them to ask them if they have a chance, and they seem to believe they do.
We're playing against SK Gaming. I think we have a high chance to beat them, right?
Now, ready, you already mentioned it. They're on the cusp of greatness.
That's right. They were really, really close to making it to a postseason last year, and they even took down the champions of the region, Crazy Raccoon. They have the stuff in them. And keep in mind that this is a different regional format this year compared to last year. Last year, they were in the APAC region, playing against some of the greatest teams in Brawl Stars. Now they've established dominance in their home region of Southeast Asia. They are undoubtedly #1 in their native scene.
I hear that the players are already just waiting for their moment to shine on stage, so let's bring them in, Barney.
A David and Goliath story right off the bat. DreamHack Dallas, make some noise for your first 2 teams. It's Revenant X-Spark versus SK Gaming. Playing for Revenant X-Spark, we have Response, Zar, and Jay. And their opponents from SK Gaming, it's Joker, Ope, and Yoshi.
I see 7 people on that stage. 6 of them at least look locked in. Pedro, calm as always, Ark.
Absolutely so, and I was chatting to Pedro last night. The team are feeling very, very confident, and for good reason. Definitely not getting ahead of themselves. Keeping themselves grounded has always been a thing historically with SK Gaming. They like to take each step one thing at a time, but they are in a phenomenal position coming into this competition.
Revenant X-Spark is playing with a stop today. It's Zar though. He got second in the World Finals once. He's bringing the experience that maybe the other two might be missing a little bit still. At least we saw how in the interview he definitely hyped them up, right?
This is true. He's got some big shoes to fill. Sargent is a player that he's replacing on this roster. He wasn't able to make it to this LAN. But Zar is pretty similar in terms of brawler pool and in terms of the role that he fills on the roster. When he played for Stamina, when he took second place at Worlds in 2023, he was really the aggro for the team. That's usually the role that Sargent would play.
I just love the fact that Zar coming into the squad is the person that's really, cheerleading themselves, because we didn't see in that clip much said from the side of others. But I feel like, to be honest, Revenant X-Spark are a bit of a dark horse in this competition. I think that when you look at the scrims and analyze them just a little bit, I know that not every caster loves to do that, but I like to get a little bit of a glimpse as to what we can expect to see. And after speaking to players, Revenant X-Spark, Toxic Lotus, these are players and teams that we're not necessarily expecting to go the distance. Let's be honest, because it would be a phenomenal thing if they were to be able to do that. It would be the best that their region's really performed at LAN. But nonetheless, I think they've got a solid chance here.
We do want to see some upsets today. Revenant X-Spark has the chance to do that now. Last year they played in a different region already, and they almost made it to LCQ even. They beat Crazy Raccoon in one of the monthly finals. They have what it takes.
It was a super close call. Keep in mind that was with their full roster as well. We have yet to see really how they're going to be able to perform with Zar. Zar has the experience, okay? We talked about he's been at the World Finals. He's been runner-up as well. He's not going to get stage fright, and he was more vocal than the other two on the team.
91% in favor of SK Gaming to the 9% of Revenant X-Spark on event.brawlstars.com. That is saying quite a statement. Not quite sure it's entirely fair or reasonable, because I think that Revenant have got still a very, very solid roster here to be considering. But of course, when the fans come together, as a competition like the Brawl Cup would also try to encourage, 91%, that's a lot of SK Gaming fans.
The stage is set now for the very first match of this weekend, this 3-day event here. We're going to head into our very first draft, and we'll already see some picks flying in here. Hank, Gray, Charlie, those are the SK specials we know. Chester's going to be the first pick up here. He's been a super good spot in the last meta. We also see someone that didn't show up last month, though. It's going to be Jae Young.
Jae Young, he's so consistent. He has all this flexibility. He is a must for a first pick, because you can do a lot with your draft following that. But SK Gaming, they left this brawler open. They have a plan to deal with it. Like Sunny said, they have Chester on their team, whose hypercharge is still as strong as it was in the last patch. It's just that he doesn't get it as frequently since the charge rate is slowed down.
It's a scary brawler. Amber coming in with the hypercharge now. So much areas that, spray with the oil. And to burn that down, it's going to leave nowhere for SK Gaming to hide. So that Buster's going to be great in the early game, but not so great in the later game. Great to see Jae Young coming in so soon in the competition too. The two different modes of which he's going to be working around. The work mode to have additional speed and those shots with the kind of slipstream to allow your team to get into position quickly, followed by then the party mode to have the heals coming in and that support factor. Janet, of course, a really great pick here on the side there of Revenant X-Spark. I'm really quite liking their draft so far. It makes a lot of sense.
I'm seeing also some flexibility from Revenant X-Spark in terms of which brawler they decide to put at mid. They could absolutely have Janet make a last-minute heist for some of these gems in a clutch recovery moment. Don't want to be leaning on that, but having that option available to you is pretty nice. It'll also be able to block that Jean pull if necessary. Jean has been such a crucial brawler in the meta right now. He's going to be a phenomenal mid. He'll be able to scout out the bushes, and also having a pull is never a bad thing.
It's going to be OP on the Buster, and that's the scary prospect with this draft in favor of SK Gaming for me. It's one of those brawler picks which he just plays so phenomenally well, and I think Revenant X-Spark have got to be very, very careful with how they tread again in this early game scenario, because if OP wins that lane side, then it's going to be very, very hard to retake.
OPE immediately pairing up with either Yoshi or Joker, trying to stay in close vicinity. He's going to get that super and hypercharge for free as long as he stays close. Meanwhile, on the right side, Zar is immediately creating the pressure in. Joker out with Vengeful Spirits, one of the most powerful things in Jean's kit right now. Pressures Zar back just a little bit, and now OPE is going into the position he's going to be most comfortable in already. Kill on the right side, looking for another on the Jay, but he's got to keep the safe distance and pops the shield to stay alive.
I think a smart decision there from OP.
They own these bushes. They have Ope in position, and Joker now just got to be closing in on his next pull. He's already got one off, and he's likely closing in on the hypercharge as well. SK Gaming are absolutely dominating mid, and Revenant and Xbark are having a real
of those. Now, slowing the pace slightly as SK Gaming have retreated back. Yoshi coming in now to that left-hand side into the mix. OP is still very, very dangerous. Has no shielding though. Would like to be able to obtain that by getting closer proximity with Joker. This magic hand, it's got to connect with Joker, and that's a hypercharge to nowhere. And SK Gaming now are going to be taking all the gems. It's just down to response. And look at that OP there with the shielding. It's going to make that look a bit of an embarrassing moment for him.
Zar now closing in for the last dish effort, but they only got 5 seconds left and no chance at making it at all. Joker with 12 gems strong. A pull, one from Joker, the other from Ope. The gank out of nowhere on the right lane to take game one.
This is what I love about SK Gaming, a team which just always exude confidence for me. And that first game really did feel like it, because in all fairness, Revenant Xbox had a good early game. They had good lane control. But as soon as their confidence dwindled, SK Gaming really took advantage of that and turned the tide.
Once more, same lane matchup for SK Gaming. They're going to put OPE on the right side versus Zar. He has that pull, so he can totally get the kill. The most important thing in the Buster matchup is that he can 3-shot this Brawler on the right side. Here comes 1, 2, 3, takedown, and now SK own these bushes.
A much more aggressive start for SK Gaming. The 4 gems in the pocket. Response burned down this entire left-hand side, and Yoshi is struggling to get control over the situation. Going to be utilizing there the Magic Puff healing from Joker to get quickly back onto that lane side, and these heals from X9J onto response are keeping him in position. Yoshi now out of position, goes down 3 versus 2. And Revenant Xbox are fighting back well.
The biggest mystery, though, is how are Revenant and Xbark going to recover these gems from Joker? SK Gaming have a method. They have a pull. They can also have Ope jump out of nowhere. But Revenant and Xbark don't really have that mobility unless you get a hypercharge from Zar. And even then, it'll be a recon mission, mostly solo. They've done a great job of forcing back Joker, especially response on this left side. He's been incredibly oppressive as this Amber, and he's also cycled a super.
What a great drop the base there from Zar, and Joker couldn't find the angle around the corner to be able to take care of it, so it took a little bit of time for SK to recoup and recollect themselves into the map. Nice connection there, the Vengeful Spirit. It will keep X9J back and clustered with Zar. 7-6. The gems, so little in it at this stage. Joker has that magic hand, and that's got to be a concern here for Revenant.
What a difficult matchup for Zar, but he manages to get out of it with the help of Jay. But they cannot get Joker, can't risk getting pulled either. Joker gets a takedown, Jay in a bad position. Has to abandon the bush for a little bit before he gets the assistance from response on the left side. No Vengeful Spirits contact for Joker either, but it's all right. This 10th gem spawns on SK's side, and all Ope and Yoshi have to do is hold the line of scrimmage at mid while Joker remains safe.
Control the base has brought OP's awareness to Zar, but Zar's got to take to the skies the hypercharge, and we've seen this from Zar before. He's able to get in and get out, but will he do so? No! The support is there for SK Gaming, and surely now they'll take the first set.
What a diff for SK Gaming right off the bat. They picked up that Buster so early on in the draft, and it turned out to be exactly what they needed to deal with that Janet on the right side. There was nothing that she could do in that matchup. Anytime she dared exist within Buster's range, maybe even within just a little distance of it, she was going to get 3-shot. And you saw that pressure that OPE applied throughout the entire set.
But if there was any man to be able to do it, it was Zar. Looking back to the monthly finals, that absolute daylight robbery moment where he was able to come in with the Janet and then escape with the gems. But SK Gaming just so collectively together in that match for me. And the communication clearly absolutely on point as well. They said it coming into the game that we perform well at LAN, and so far they're looking pretty confident in things. Revenant Xbox had a good showing. They weren't stomped by any means at all, it must be said. But I think that SK for me looked that little bit stronger early on.
These were legitimately close games right here. Really, the only thing that started to crumble from either side was that Janet wasn't able to establish really any presence on that right lane. She had to trickle down Buster one little clip around the wall at a time, and got pretty close, We have to concede that at least. For Revan and X-Park, they also got some great presence around the left side. Look at how all of those bushes have been burned open in the final moment, where just a single shot from Zar would have actually interrupted that countdown too.
And a great draft for me as well. I think that Revenant played that really, really well in that regard. Moving from Gem Grab in to Hot Zone then. Open Business is our next map up next. And, you know, again, I'm really seeing some good signs from the draft. There's nothing that concerns me too much so far. And I want to see those kind of picks come back through. Again, still a heavy regard for brawlers like Lumi, for Kenji. I think those two, for me, are quite, you know, sort of big up there. I think Lu as well, as we saw. Most played, number 3, if I remember correctly as well. So I want to see brawlers like him eradicated. I wouldn't mind seeing a brawler like Bo, who's definitely kind of moving forwards a little bit in the meta, as one of those great brawlers for area denial. And the mines, of course, now with the Hypercharge addition, do take a little bit longer to trigger forwards. So in terms of the draft, some definite considerations there. We've got some fun facts as well. Secret skills. Joker can speak 6 languages. He's also incredible at chess.
I was going to say, he's like a child chess prodigy. This guy is just skilled in many different esports as well, because I think we can consider chess an esport at this point. And he plays chess in a way because he is a team drafter as well. And so far, he has been cooking on some of these matchups. Moved over to Hot Zone for a second set of this match. And I think Bo was a really great shout here. He's definitely a top brawler in Hot Zone at the moment, with the Hypercharge especially. It's not that you're really going to get enemies with the mines. It's more that you have impeded their progress. Enemies have to bait them out one by one. That's really irritating to deal with when most of the time your objective is to walk onto the zone, exist a little bit, die, repeat. But as long as you do better than your enemies.
I was going to say Griff as well, but he is banned out. The Griff B combo now going to be ever stronger because of the Hypercharge addition now to Griff. So I'm liking to see that that's actually considered highly here. Lumi banned, as well as the Finks, the Lu, and the Grey on top of those. So good bans for me all round. And it might be that Lu ban give a little bit more weight towards a Bo potential pick here, but certainly tanks are going to be up there with that B ban as well. One of the best tank counters already in that regard. Yeah, Hank, first pick from Revenant, and already some cheers coming from the crowd who love to see the Milkman make an appearance.
Yeah, some cheers if you're prawn ready, of course. This guy is so strong in the current meta, though there are some pretty clear-cut counters, I gotta say. Oh, okay, yeah, nerf Hank. You know what? I support that one. This guy is way too strong, but there are some ways to deal with it. One of them I'm looking at is Draco, and I wonder if Revan and X-Park are expecting SK Gaming to go something similar.
I can't believe we're in the second set and we're already giving Adrian, the balancing guy, some grief in that regard. Nerfing Hank, and now Draco coming in as well. And Draco very much in a good spot as well. The last stand gadget, of course, is what makes Draco for me so prevalent in a game mode like Hot Zone, just having that additional ability to stay on the zone. And sometimes just that 1%, as we know, can be all it means between your loss and your victory. So I think that's a good start from SK Gaming. Heals for me, yeah, Kenji coming in as well. I mean, that's the brawl that wasn't banned that really kind of should have been, in my opinion. That's quite scary, but Poco is available. And I think when you're dealing with so many tanks, you've got to place a heavy consideration on that healing brawler, which for me at the moment in the current meta, Poco's the best.
I'm looking at Poco for healing. I'm looking even at a potential Barry, since he has fallen off quite a bit, but there are still walls to work with. No wall breakers just yet. I think SK Gaming are in a really great position to pick up a healer that makes use of some of these walls. Barley could absolutely cook here as well, I think is a worthwhile consideration. Revan and X-Park are looking to pretty much deathball their way all the way through this. They're going some of the highest health brawlers in the game, especially Frank, who's able to deal with Draco quite nicely, I would say. Gale, the end-all be-all tank counter that remains in this draft that hasn't been banned out, is simply available. And we've seen this before, we've seen this succeed. The Gale jump pad seems to be the method.
Yeah, getting into the map very, very quickly. The freezing snow star power to slow everyone down as well. But I think Gale's so versatile in his kit. Colette, though, from SK Gaming. I mean, I've got to be honest, I kind of prefer that as a tank counter myself. I feel like that knockback, that pushback potential that she brings to the table as well. And the additional healing of the gotcha gadget as well. I think that, for me, Colette just has a little bit more of an edge. But Gale is not a bad shout at all from Revenant. Some very balanced drafting, I would say, on both sides. But the Kenji sways me. I can't help but deny it in favor of SK Gaming.
Kenji has a hypercharge right now. Not only that, it's pretty much the best in the game. You get essentially a Tara pull that brings everyone in, and you get to spawn at the end of your super. So you're going to get to deal additional damage to anyone that you all brought together with gravity towards the middle. SK Gaming right out the gates with the aggression. Joker up to the skies, gets one hit onto Jay, and smartly escapes. At mid, Yoshi with the takedown, and now the pinch on a response. Response gets one. Jay now closing in from the right side. They're playing the range matchup well, trying not to give that much to Ope, who's now slowed and hit by the torpedo from response for the kill.
Yeah, great slow. We are seeing that freezing snow there from Zara as well, which is going to be a concern for SK Gaming, making them a bit more susceptible to damage, and being able to close the gap, of course, very key. But Joker is doing pretty well for the most part, coming back in now. Yoshi on that Colette pick as well. Now, hypercharge already. He's dangerous. Goes down, but he's going to be coming back in with that utility.
And now you've gotten to see also why that Draco is so strong into the Hank, because he has that gadget that allows him to survive for a little bit longer. Response, now wiggling the bubble around, getting the kill with the hypercharge as well. Has to stay around this obstacle to stay away from Yoshi, who's now sort of cross-eyed, goes for one kill on the left, hits the wall, but Joker has got it laid down at mid with a hypercharge and an advantage for SK.
Yeah, a bit of a shame about that wall hit, but prior to that, Yoshi was just juggling plates everywhere you look. Every single player was the target for him, and he was tapping away at them as well. But now, Revenants are making a little bit of home in this mid. It's OP versus the world here, as the Kenji's still going from Joker. Now they take back the zone. At 70% now, little time for Revenant Xbox to get back on the objective.
It feels impossible. They're almost getting spawn trapped. Joker, though, gets a little over-aggressive. Hopefully, Yoshi and Ope have got this final few percentage. It's down to 13 between SK and victory. But Revenant and Xbox are now setting up camp. They gotta hold off Yoshi for a little bit longer. Stun on the Joker. There's the kill as well. Ope barely alive. Jay looking for the kill, but here comes the gadget from Ope. A kill, a heal, almost enough. Just 4% to go. Joker dashes in. That's 1, 2, and up to 100 with SK Gaming establishing their presence on that point.
And you can see there the value of which that Draco gadget really brings. I think OP brought about 4 to 5% of time just by being there on a 1%, 1 HP above his head. Crazy stuff from SK Gaming, but again, in what is very close scorelines, they are still remaining firm and getting the job done.
SK Gaming just has the matchups down pretty much. They're going to place OPE on the left side immediately. Yoshi with the takedown. Joker right on top of Jay, avoiding the stun as well. That mobility is one of the most difficult things for Frank to deal with. Doesn't matter if your enemy has low health if you can't hit him.
The respawn's in now. SK Gaming really are giving tough time here for Revenant. Xbox, X9J now against that Kenji matchup. It doesn't work out too well for him. Joker's got a heal though, regardless. Now that right-hand side is completely opened up. Nice between the response there and Zar to take care of the Colette. The objective though is 50% now for SK Gaming. And Revenant are definitely behind in this scenario.
They're hurting right now. They've only got 13%, and Yoshi is not letting them anywhere near Response. Looks for the kill. Joker in hot pursuit. He's going to get taken down, but Response is stuck in the enemy spawn. Ope all alone at mid, taking a bit of damage from Response as well, fighting the 1v3, the survivability as well from the gadget, taken down, but it's fine. The avenue's wide open for Yoshi. Can't get any contact on that super, and shut down by Jay, as Revenant and Xbark are now starting to claw back.
The map is so opened up now, but there's so much time to make up for Revenant, but they are doing so, approaching now 50%. SK Gaming are behind by 23 in this game now. For Revenant, they've got to hold them. If anyone goes down, it could be disastrous for them as well, so they are doing a pretty decent job of coming together to keep that communication on point. But Yoshi comes in, clears up the left-hand side, allowing OP now to come into aggress. Then onto Zar, a hypercharge, but it is a 1 versus 3 for Zar. And how much can he realistically do to keep his team in the set? Is SK Gaming going to ahead?
They knew just what to draft. The Hank appears. Go Draco. Get some tankiness out there. The Colette's wide open for that final selection. A tough one as well for Revenant and Xbark. They knew that they had to take the Hank as soon as that was available. And it was a solved game from there on out. Check out this DPS from Yoshi. My goodness. But this is the expectation, because there is a wrong way to play Colette, and Yoshi was reliably hitting the shots, staying in the right position, and prioritizing survival.
Yeah, 688 DPS is quite a statement. I mean, sure, you're playing into a Hank and a Frank, so if you're not kind of getting to that stage, then we're going to be asking that question as to why not. But, I mean, on the world stage, it's definitely still not an easy feat by any means at all. But for SK Gaming, they are starting to make this look like a little bit of an easier struggle than we were expecting so far. I want to see Revenant bring back a set in this next one to come. I think that they've got certainly the ability to, and we've seen some good drafts and decisions, but playing the objective in Hot Zone there was where things started to struggle in that second game, especially falling behind just a little bit too soon for me to have too much of a back and forth in the later affairs.
Because we also discussed about what might the option be for the Gale. Is he going to run the jump pad? He ran Twister this time, and that actually wasn't a problem at all because Colette was dashing right through it, didn't really give any protection for the home front. As well as we saw Frank breaking open some of those walls, which made Colette's job a whole lot easier. So this was a deliberate choice by Revenant X-Spark in game number 2 because they broke open those walls actually so much more quickly than they did in game number 1, but it came back to bite them. They need to see if they can find some kind of draft with a real consonant, you know, some kind of convergence on what the MO is.
Well, on to our next map and mode. And for SK Gaming, just another day in the office so far. Calm, confident, composed. The Revenant, certainly some things to consider, to think about. Some morale, some confidence to find within themselves in this first match of the day. It's going to be Shooting Star, and the mode, of course, Bounty. The long-ranged affair, which, again, was Sergeant's specialty, in my opinion. So they're going to have to find that within themselves to kind of replace that edge. And keep themselves in this conversation, because they're going to have to take it all the way to a 5th and final now against a team like SK Gaming, you know, who made the semi-finals of the last year's World Finals. Never an easy feat by any means at all. Let's see what the bans are coming through. Kind of want to see a tick ban myself, and some heavily considerations around brawls like Piper, like Mandy, and that kind of thing as well. That long-range affair is certainly where my eyes are thinking in that regard. But a team like SK Gaming as well, they can just flip the tides as well and bring in some max speed, bring in some aggression with things. Lumi, Piper, and Angelo. Nice bands there from SK Gaming. The Gene, the Grey, and the Bell from Revenant X-Spark. And, you know, Bell is really, really dangerous in Asia as well. So I quite like that consideration there.
I'm looking at SK Gaming and Revenant X-Spark, maybe seeing some commonalities between the two teams. I think both are very well equipped to bring out something like a Max. Here comes the Gus, which is a fairly solid selection. Not necessarily my favorite as a first selection, because I think he's fallen off a decent amount. And I think also he can get rolled on by an aggro pick, which SK Gaming is going to be looking at since they have that final selection.
In Southeast Asia, they do like that Gus combo with the Melody. You know, it's a consideration there to bear in mind. Carl is a very solid pick. Nanny, of course, as we know, with the ability to cycle those peeps in, can just kind of sit back in the map, so play a defensive role, but also go on the aggressive. Let's see, will Revenant combine this with the Melody? It will be very bold if they do go for it, but Gus, I agree, has definitely dropped off. But with the introduction of the Hypercharge now as well to consider, there is a little bit of potential to work with. But it's, you know, it used to be such a really versatile brawler to have in many of the maps and modes, but we have seen drop off Max.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, this could be that kind of aggressive idea, which is normally SK's specialty. They're going to have the Melody with this as well, because that would be kind of wild. You know, Gus, Melody, and a Max. Oof, spicy stuff, and bold from Revenant, considering that they are behind by 2 sets.
It would be a pretty heavy commitment to go all out just like that. Revenant X-Spark, I think they also need to find a good response for this Carl, since that can be quite frustrating to deal with. Maybe something that gets that blue star pretty quickly on that. They're just going to let SK have it. Here comes Ollie, okay, and get a little bit of aggression there in case there is a thrower last pick from SK Gaming. Absolutely something that they have to consider over here. So Revenant X-Spark have locked it all in terms of can they handle aggression from SK Gaming? Sort of a question mark there. I think we're looking at something decently well-rounded from SK. Nanny, as a sniper on its own, is curious as well. That's definitely preemptive. They don't want to have to deal with something more aggressive. Hey, someone tell SK she doesn't have a hypercharge yet.
I mean, it's not what I was expecting to see, honestly, I'll be honest. I mean, the one thing that I would say is like that the Nanny needs to be hard to cycle peeps, because with the Max...
And the big thing, I think, here for the Pan is shots. No one's going to be able to do that. And you're also facing a Scrap Sucker that's going to be on cooldown. But this is a pretty off-meta pick, aggressively off-meta. SK Gaming are looking at something way more control-based. Check it out, they got that blue star. It's all about maintaining that lead as long as possible. They're probably not going to go to the enemy side unless they're feeling supremely confident. Ope's already... And look at how oppressive this is for Jay. He's forced to rotate over to the right side, keeping his distance from Ham as much as possible.
Yeah, it's a bold pick here from SK, but I trust their judgment on it. I think that if they are pushing back in the spawn side, having additional heals is never a bad thing. No connection there from Joker. Not going to be able to find the pickaxe swing in his favor there, as the Peep is circling around here in the backside of the map. And Zar does find OPE, so not going to find too much there. And the Peep going to be behind now by 1 star, and it's going the aggressive now.
I'm a little mystified because it felt like a bit of an unnecessary interaction. But SK Gaming can lean on Yoshi to get a kill here. Maybe Joker to establish something on the right side, get someone low if possible, and then use the healing station from there. Here comes the speed from Jay. It's time to go. Response in on the mid. Gadget out. To be hit by that at all, and Response now caught too aggressive, overextended, and SK Gaming ring it back in.
Good response now, good connection as well down to X9J from Yoshi, as now Response is trying to circle around this left-hand side and keep that pressure on. Yoshi again has another peep. The hypercharge there for Joker. He's actually going to pop it early there as well. But gets it off the back of that interaction. Lovely stuff from Joker. Great confidence being displayed as we approach now. 20 seconds left on the clock, and it's Revenant that have got to make the push.
Hypercharge and any super out. Jay maybe thinking about, no, not even going to get to phase shifter into it. Response is taken down. It's drive time. Yoshi's picking up another. Man's got 6 stars. A dash in from Joker to secure another kill on the Czar. SK Gaming with a 12-2 lead, and Revenant X-Park with hardly enough time to bring things back. We're looking at an SK match point.
This is more than scary now. This is pure dominance being displayed here from SK Gaming. We haven't seen enough either from Revenant yet to warrant there being a comeback. That's my concern. It's just all been SK so far. But they need to dig deep if they want to remain in this upper bracket side of things. As SK Gaming are just looking so good.
Revenant and X-Park have already changed up the lanes. They're placing Jay on the right lane immediately, keeping him away from Ope. And look at this, musical lanes. Now it's time for Ope to move over to the right side. Thankfully, Jay's a pretty mobile brawler, so he'll be able to go over to the left side if he needs to, unless it's too difficult for Zar to face that Pam on the right lane. See Jay also rotate back over to mid, and Yoshi already has his first super. Jay not, goes for the, no phase shifter, in fact, just face tanks it as well. That's gonna mean he has to retreat, and a bit of ground goes to SK.
Well, already a very good start for OPE. Having that healing station in the back lines is definitely going to be a bit of a blessing here, as Revenant X-Park do start to push forwards. Joker takes care of that right-hand side. Zar falls, and X9J then follows suit. This is response to 1 versus 3, and something that he cannot get out of. 7 stars to SK, to the 0 of Revenant X-Park, who have got to find their pace.
Nanny head in, takedown onto Zar, or perhaps not, hangs on by a thread. He's got this super ready to move, maybe onto Response for a bit of aggression. And speed's available for J2. They have 3 supers, plenty of utility for Revenant X-Park right now. They're staring down the barrel of 2 hypercharges right now. Here comes Joker in. He's on such low health. Jay gonna escape with 1 kill. Response now looking for another. Has to stay away from Yoshi. That's some pretty serious damage from the Nanny. And here comes a hypercharged head in hot pursuit. Response can't get the dodge against the enlarged Nanny super. And it's 25 seconds left for Revenant to somehow take back an 8-star deficit.
That's what I was saying about Gust. It's got the hypercharge, but it's just not the strongest of hypercharges now, as Revenant X-Park really are fighting for their lives in this series, pushing themselves forwards, but they've got so many stars to collect, and I just don't think there being enough time or enough bodies even to be able to collect up the stars. 14 to SK Gaming. Revenant X-Park onto the 6 now with 3 seconds. SK Gaming have made this look easy, and they have done it. A clean match and a clean victory. SK Gaming made that look so easy.
SK, clock in, punch their card. Oh, it's a short shift. Let's clock out. 3 sets, done and dusted. Dust off the hands. Hardly conceded anything either. My goodness, what a sweep.
I mean, coming into things, OP was saying that he didn't want to drop a set, you know, and Yoshi's face during that moment as well was hilarious. But, I mean, that was just phenomenal. What a start.
Well, we get to hear from the winners themselves. Let's take it to the stage.
Thank you so much. Ready, set. I've got Joker here from SK Gaming. The crowd are going wild. You guys looked extremely convincing, very confident. And I think it's safe to say, given the video that you recorded before this, that your teammates got their revenge on Zar, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think we couldn't have hoped for a better start. 6-0, we played really good, nearly no mistakes, and yeah, I hope we can keep it going.
And you've also got, you've got this time off now. You guys can actually relax for the rest of the day. Tomorrow, there's the potential for you to play up against Zeta Division or Elevate. What are your thoughts? Have you already got strategies in place to go up against them, or are you going to start kind of prepping that now?
I think we will watch the match now, Zeta against Elevate, and we will see who the winner is, but we've already scrimmed the maps for tomorrow, and we have analyzed our opponents, so we're ready for both.
Well, thank you so much, Joker. What an incredible matchup. DreamHack Dallas, make some noise for SK Gaming, your first victors at the Brawl Cup. Let's send it back over to the desk to continue day one.
Thank you so much, Barney. SK takes this first one 3-0. They made this one look easy. What we're looking at right now are the stats for this very last set. And I gotta say, this pan pick is something I did know they would probably pick because Joker talked to me beforehand, but I did not expect it regardless. It's a pick that we don't usually see, right?
Yeah, I think the ways of directly countering Max are a little bit more sparse these days. But, if you're in the know, then you know that Pam is one of the ways to deal with Max. It has to be as a last pick because Pam, she has some pretty tough counters in this game. She's not that great of a brawler.
The people at home got to vote once again. Who's the MVP of this round? It's going to be one of the SK Gaming players since they just won 3-0. And no surprises here, Ark. It's Joker.
Yeah, and to hear him as well speaking, he was just so calm, so matter of fact. And again, it's great to see SK Gaming just be really locked in today.
It really is. EMEA still got one of their fighters in. For Revenant X-Spark, it's now getting a little tight. They still have a second life here. They can still win their next match. It's a group stage, so the top 2 teams of each group move on. They can still do that. SK Gaming with that already in round 2 ready. They're waiting for their opponents now.
Yeah, who's going to be sent down to the lower bracket? Will it be Zeta Division or will it be Elevate? A mystery for sure, but we have our expectations of who it's going to be as well.
We're going to give you a little time to get your predictions in on the website one more time, event.brawlstars.com now. DreamHack Dallas, are you ready for some more Brawl Stars? Group A out of the way, the first match at least. Now we're heading over to our Group B. I'm here back again with Reddy and Ark for this one, and it's going to be a spicy one. Reddy, is it going to be a closer one than the previous one? 3-0, the first match. Is this going to be 3-2?
I have a feeling it will be, actually. Well, not necessarily all the way to the 5th and final set, but I think it will be closer. Because Toxic Lotus, they are operating with their full roster right now, and they painted themselves as a dark horse.
We are still in the group stage right now, Ark. Explain a little, how does that work? What we'll see today, tomorrow, and then also on Sunday. 3-day event, people.
Yeah, exactly that. So we'll now head over to Group B, and we'll see that match unfold, and then head back to Group A and see that lower side of the bracket. We'll have elimination matches here today as well, so we'll see who's going to be going home on either side of these 2 groups. But in Group A, we've got Elevate, and we've just seen Revenant X-Spark, SK Gaming, and Zeta Division to come. Humble, Loud, Toxic Lotus, and Tribe Gaming on the side of Group B. And we're going to be hitting up then Toxic Lotus and Humble up next.
I hope everybody got their predictions in by now. You have the chance to earn some Pro Pass XP, so you can get those star drops in, the Astral Cold Skin, and many more things. We also have no cap now, so you can earn points all day long for every single vote you get. Correct. Make sure to do it now. Our predictions, pretty unison, I'd say, already.
We're all thinking Humble is going to take it. And can you really argue with it? They took the World Finals last year, but they have stumbled a little bit. They've taken repeat second places in their home region. So the guys do have a weakness. They do have an Achilles heel. Is it necessarily Toxic Lotus? None of us seem to think so.
Humble has had a pretty good title defense so far. The current world champions, 2024 was their year. Now they're defending their belt. Their championship belt isn't exactly at risk of being stripped away today, but they can still prove that later on in the year they can beat everyone again.
I mean, they've had 2 Grand Final appearances this year, no wins, but going back to last year, they had 4 Grand Final appearances and only won 1 of them, and still managed to be the world champions. So I'm going to give them some grace. I think that the consistency is there, and I think that for me, they've got to be the favorite in this competition, haven't they? They're still looking on top.
We have a quick statement from this team. I'm sure it's going to be very humble.
I think our match against Toxic Lotus is going to be pretty easy, as China didn't win a single game. But don't know, it's just the truth. They didn't win a single yet in LAN, but they were close the last LCQ. So yeah, I think it's just going to be an easy win for us.
They have to prove to the world that they're still the team to beat this year. I think I didn't promise too much. They're promising you guys a humble interview. The breaker of curses. We call them that because both Symantec and this roster in the total are cursed.
They're plagued by a couple of curses. One of them was broken last year at Worlds, where Symantec was fated to never win a match in the World Finals ever since 2021. The one time he did win a match was in 2022, but he was playing against a team that only had 1 player on that stage. Guess what team that was? The one that they're about to play. Does the curse manifest once more? But there's still another aspect to that curse as well.
Internal second for Humble. Not at Worlds last year, they won it all. On the other side, we have the Chinese mainland roster. We have Toxic Lotus Arc.
And, you know, I've got to say, looking at that interview from Boss, I think that they should be a little bit more cautious around Toxic Lotus, to be completely honest. They have won sets at LAN, and I feel that they've got a decent chance here for me. You know, going back to the LCQ, that was their first win at LAN against Navi, a 2-0 scoreline, and going prior to that, the World Finals of 2023, a lot of 2-3 scorelines. They were on the cusp of getting through to those next rounds.
They're looking to prove that their win last year against Navi wasn't just a fluke at LCQ. We're gonna also have a little look at what they think about their match today.
我觉得他们虽然很强，但是我觉得我们如果发挥出全部的实力的话，应该是可以打赢。
The best Chinese team made it to the Brawl Cup. We're going to see them later on this year again, I'm pretty sure, either at Worlds or LCQ, of course. Now, well, how did those years go by, Reddy?
Yeah, he's been representing the region as #1 for quite some time, I might add. Since 2021, he's made every single postseason, and he's also made it to the Brawl Cup. Has never missed that #1 seed.
He's just one of those players that's always been in the community and always making good progress. And despite mainland China, for the most part across the years, falling a little bit behind other regions, I think that we all turned our heads, didn't we, at the LCQ last year to realize that, hey, they're up and coming. They're making moves. They're staying with the competition and staying within the meta of the rest of the regions, which in previous years was what was lacking for me a little bit. And they've approached draft a different way. And with Star Dragon as well, on that side of things, I mean, that's someone who really understands the meta and understands those drafts.
We want to head right into the action now. The only thing that's still missing are our players. Let's bring them out, Barney.
The self-proclaimed dark horses of the competition going up against Brawl Stars royalty. It's Toxic Lotus versus Humble! Playing for Toxic Lotus, we have Top, Engine, and O. And representing Humble, it's Boss, Lukey, and Symantec.
Another bunch of players that seem to be super ready. Ark, you feel like Toxic Lotus is going to be a little nervous playing against Humble, or are they just looking back to LCQ last year and going to say, easy breezy, day one is ours?
I mean, they should be. I mean, any team should be, to be completely honest. You're playing against the reigning champions of the world. You know, you're going to be coming in as best prepared as you can be, but ultimately, this is the #1 team to beat in the second match of day one. So I would understand those nerves. I wouldn't blame them.
First map is going to be Dueling Beetles. Ready? You feel like we're going to see a brawler that we haven't seen today yet. Is this going to be especially good on this hot zone map?
I don't think Humble will be revealing any secrets just yet. If they're as confident as they say, then I think they believe that they can take down Toxic Lotus with a good old-fashioned 1-2. But Toxic Lotus might try something adventurous. As far as our familiarity with what Toxic Lotus like to play, they love to play some control stuff. That's not really what works here on Hot Zone, so maybe they'll find themselves stretched thin and have to resort to something drastic.
With the April balance changes, with the hypercharges that got added to the game just recently, and with the new brawler Jae Young, we do have a little shift in the meta. I have the stats from the scrims from the last week, just this week, from all the teams that played here. Hank, Chester, Finks, Lily, Kenji are leading the group right now.
Yeah, Lily and Kenji for me are the main two offenders. 89% to 11%. Quite a stern poll yet again in favor of Humble, but actually just slightly less than we saw for SK in the previous round, so but not by much. I think that, to be honest, 80-20 is about right for me on this side of things. For Toxic Lotus, definitely a lot to prove, but you know, we've seen them take sets before. Humble are going to be confident, and they should be. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
With that, we're going to head into our draft. Humble versus Toxic Lotus. Is it going to be EMEA or mainland China?
Let's talk about bans out here. Toxic Lotus, they've spent a lot of time playing on a different build of the game. They've been playing on the Chinese build of the game, which is a little bit behind the current meta. Also, in terms of what we've seen from Toxic Lotus in competitive most recently, it's been a while since they've qualified. So they have a bunch of catch-up work to do on the current meta. Humble, meanwhile, has been competing very recently. In fact, they took a win in Brawl Ball League, which looked really, really strong.
This is what I was saying about Toxic Lotus. They do keep up. You know, they are paying a lot of attention to what everyone else is doing, because like you say, they are behind in terms of the build, but in terms of their knowledge, they're kind of on a level playing field in that regard. Certainly against Humble, you know, this is going to be no doubt their toughest opposition of this year, and they can't take this one lightly, and hopefully they've done their homework and looked into those scrim polls and all the brawlers which they're likely to consider playing. I mean, for me, you know, I've got my top 3 coming to this competition. It was going to be Humble, Zeta, and SK Gaming, and that remains to be the same. I put Humble down as being in the grand finals, as either a number 1 or a number 2, as a potential upset there. I would be surprised if they were not able to make it through that way, and you know, I think today should be straightforward for them, but you just never know at these kinds of events, because anything can happen on the day, and you know, we've seen upsets happen, and I do hope that we see some in the Brawl Cup.
My goodness, okay. The crowd has a clear favorite. Humble getting all kinds of cheers and the support out in the crowd. Maybe some folks out there for Toxic Lotus as well. They got 11% on the poll online. And surely some folks at home showing their support. Toxic Lotus, they are the undisputed GOATs of mainland China. They've been #1 seed for quite a while. Oh, in particular has. Let's start talking draft. We're gonna get some bans out here momentarily. And we have some top brawlers to consider here. Once more, Toxic Lotus, they're a bit fresher on the current meta, but some things are still running the show. We're looking at hypercharges. We talked about this at the top of the show. Kenji, Lily, huge considerations here on Dueling Beetles. Anything with a whole lot of health, the ability to heal, as well as manipulate the terrain, mold it to your will, is crucial.
Just say that's our friend Lucky in the front row. He had an SK Gaming jersey in the last game. Now he's supporting Humble. This is what I love about the Brawl Cup. Well, it's EMEA, isn't it? You can do that. This is the first time that we're able to really be cheering for everyone. As long as they're in our home region, that's what matters. So great to see the support of the crowd there, just being able to put on every jersey as long as it's of their home region. Bans are in. It's going to be Hank, Lumi, as well as the Kenji, and they are really good, solid bans for me. Toxic Lotus banning out the Byron, the Griff, and I think there was a Barley there as well. Luke going to be coming in. Yeah, they are banning out the Barley, which is quite an unusual ban, I'm not going to lie. Interesting to see that one come through, but Lou is a great first pick by Toxic Lotus, one that I can really get behind. I kind of want to see how Humble are going to respond. I think aggression should definitely be at the top of their list.
I think this also screams Poco game for Humble, since they can completely negate the effects of Lu. Also looking at the possibility of Steal. Phenomenal brawler here, can break open the walls if that's something that they want to do. I think there are numerous avenues that they can rock and roll with if they want to be able to deal effectively with this Lu. Finks is a Humble favorite. Semantic loves this brawler. It's so fitting that he's the one who picked it too.
It's one of those brawlers which is now starting to shine through Berry. Interesting. I mean, we were just discussing that in the previous series and how Berry has fallen off just a little bit, and with no tank there so far from Humble, of course the Lu is going to be quite a good deterrent of that very idea, but that's normally what you're going to be combining a Berry with. So definitely got some question marks on what that third and final pick is being brewed up there by Humble. Toxic Lotus, though, definitely a chance with that Lu on their side to consider tanks as well. Of course, Hank being out of the mix and the Kenji, there's still options regardless of that. Frank, of course, being the primary subject that we all tend to see come through. Great for Toxic Lotus to have those teleports going into the map. That kind of cheesy strategy does work quite well with tanks in combo.
They'll also be able to hook that Berry, pull him through a wall, and break some walls that way, so that will be beneficial. Open up some of the map, get some good TP in if they decide to go with a tank last pick, which would definitely be fitting with the way that they usually play. They love to put TOC, by the way, that's formerly White.
Yeah.
He name changed recently as a callback to his former roster, Trick of China. And he's probably going to be playing something aggressive here. It would just be fitting. If nothing else, he is usually put on the most difficult brawler to play. Here comes Draco, and this is the math. Humble now have to respond to a tanky pick from Toxic Lotus with their last pick.
The Frank would be the ideal one for me for Humble now to consider. I was kind of thinking that that may have been the brawler which they had their eyes on originally with the Draco. So now it's taken off the cards, then it might be something of, I mean, certainly, yeah, you can hear it already. I mean, it's a Humble special. So normally semantic on that particular brawler pick, but the Berry is what's going to be quite good at keeping the Frank in the mix and on the zone. And of course, the objective of Hot Zone, being present, getting those heals, and having a tanky brawler to soak up as much damage as possible is what brings the objective home.
I still see a chance for Toxic Lotus to bring this about. I think we came in with the expectation that Humble was going to have the superior drafts, that they're going to have superior mechanics. We've simply seen them perform way more consistently and for a far longer duration of time than Toxic Lotus. But if Toxic Lotus can get this hypercharged gray teleport up, and if they can do that consistently, then they should have a pretty good chance. TOC is already going to be coming in on the right side. He's facing a poor range matchup versus a Frank, and he also does not have the DPS to take down Semantic, so it's really, really hard. Already Engine in with the first TP, sort of suiciding onto Semantic as well, but they do have some sort of substance as far as getting in on that point.
Luki already cycling really well for me. And I was literally going to say, like, where's NG going to TP into this comp? Like, it's going to be really struggling to, to land those marks. You've got to kind of go in this low HP with the Berry. That's going to be a tough thing to be able to achieve. Now, with more heals coming from Luki and a smash there from Semantic, opening up that left-hand side. Not going to find there TOC, but is going to open up that left-hand side.
Oh my goodness, and all the slowed shots out from TOC, now making contact with Finks on the left side. Boss is going to be respawning soon to try and win this range matchup, but check it out. Toxic Lotus now with the advantage. They have the TP, that's very beneficial. Hypercharge as well. That's the risk of playing Frank. You're going to feed enemy supers and hypercharges. So once Humble gets back control, if they manage to, they still have to face this hypercharged TP that's going to be healing and giving shield to Toxic Lotus.
Now, 55% been climbing for Humble here as TSB pops the gadget, but not going to stay on the zone much longer than that. 46% is what Toxic Lotus are sitting on currently, and now the Lu going to be able to slow things down just a little bit. TSB coming in there, the TP, and now putting pressure onto Boss there as well as Semantic. Luke is the last man standing, and look at this. Toxic Lotus now are tied game with Humble.
Engine has another hypercharged teleport if he needs in a pinch. A missed hook is not the end of the world, and here comes Super out from Boss. Accelerated projectile speed for him and minimized projectile speed for Toxic Lotus in with hypercharge, but it's going to take time to hit the ground. Luki's still frozen, but Engine can't come in and claim that kill. Bit of a nothing burger. That Super, the hyper one from O, and Semantic now claims a kill. Humble now once more take the lead.
There's just a couple of % in this. And Toxic Lotus are respawning back in straight there with dimensional doors. Zoe gets onto the zone and stuns out Semantic, but Semantic stays standing. And now Humble should be able to get this first game in the bag. But what a close one to start things off. Only 12% in it. It didn't look nearly as convincing as we saw in the last series of SK Gaming, just saying.
That was not comfortable for Humble. Really, a lot of that came down to the final power play from Lu being totally stymied by the Super out from Finks. Slowed the descent of the Super from Lu to the ground. It only froze Berry, and even then, no one important was really frozen, and no one had high enough health to get in there. I think this is quite optimistic for Toxic Lotus, though. They managed to get a leg up in the early game. They seem to be faring quite fine around Semantic's Frank, even with TOC playing this Drake on the right side. Early freeze in from O, and a bit of action on a Semantic who's breaking up in the walls on Toxic Lotus's home front.
Yeah, it's a much better start for Humble now as Engine needs to get set up a little bit now. Got to heal or wait for his teammates to come back into play here. And Semantic breaking up the map very, very quickly early on. Hyper charge there. Luke is going to get a good spot of guard. It's not enough to stay standing against TOC there with the Dragon's Breath coming in. Engine trying to find taps with the boss. TP's in himself to get that closer range. Oh, and there's a nice gadget there from the boss to keep him alive in the question. Now as they approach 40%, Humble are looking much more confident this time round.
My goodness, only 10% for Toxic Lotus so far, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Engine does have the TP where he needs it, and O is also equipped with the Hypercharge Super, so there is a chance. You don't really have to fight through unless here comes the super out from Boss, a slow descent. Oh, and TOC wipe out the point, and Toxic Lotus is back on the map.
They got a lot of catching up to do still. Humble got 64% on the zone. But now they're catching up just a little bit now, approaching 40%. TSP has got super now, and now the Dragon's Breath going to be burning down to the Mantic. Those very heals have got to be coming in. Clutch and Lukey is still cycling forwards. There's the last Dragon's Breath, and TSP falls. 80% for Humble now as they start to collect themselves in this set and looking much better for it.
Desperate last-ditch effort now in store for Toxic Lotus. They have a Hypercharge to utilize. TOC just barely alive. Boss getting contacted with all kinds of damage, but Semantic cannot be moved off this point. 2-0 for Humble in set 1.
The first game was definitely a bit of a nail-biter for me. Humble felt the same way as they came back in the second and made it look just a little bit more convincing. Very close stats across the board, to be completely honest, but TOC there on 538, despite losing the set. A really good amount of DPS and a good showing from Toxic Lotus. Again, I think that first game especially was a lot closer. That could have very much gone their way, in all honesty, there as well. But Humble did knuckle down and they got the job done. Semantic spending a lot of time on the zone there, 48 under his name, and almost half the amount of time needed to get the objective.
I was certainly impressed by Toxic Lotus in game number 1. They seemed to hold their own quite well, got an advantage over Humble at numerous different points throughout that game. But in game number 2, it was a much different story. This was the Humble show, really. We only saw one solid retake from Toxic Lotus, and it wasn't terribly convincing. Seemed like once that TP got up, there was only one player on their roster that could actually make an impact out of it, which was Draco. Though not a direct counter, Finks was so reliable in shutting down Lu. Anytime it would be supremely advantageous to get that Lu super down, get the freezing rink down on the zone, pop down the super, everyone was able to clear out of the zone before anyone could get frozen.
The one stat that I wanted to see really was the amount of healing that Lukey was bringing in for his team. I think that he was really the MVP in that set for me. Without him, I think that comp may have struggled against that, and Toxic Lotus would probably have gained a set. So really impressed by Lukey there to just make sure that all those heals were cycled in as much as possible, because that's how a Frank gets the objective done. So a good start from Humble. You'd expect to see it from the reigning champions of the world, but you do never know. When it comes to these events, anything can happen. That's what makes them so great.
We talk about meta shifts. Frank Berry, that was February. And now we're all the way in May, and it's still good, but you have to draft it right. That's the difference. It used to be way more oppressive and much easier to draft. Humble know what's up. They have some real deep knowledge of their game, and their Brawl dictionary is super, super thick. If they have to go back to February's meta to find the medicine that the doctor ordered, then that is what they will do. Let's talk about Sneaky Field's arc. It's time for some aggressive play that centers around these bushes, or if you want to get frisky, break open all the bushes and just make your own map.
And certainly, you know, Amber now is a heavy consideration in maps with bushes because of the hypercharge and the amount of area damage that she can deal to those grass areas. It's definitely a consideration to even ban potentially here as well. I think brawlers like Ashe and tanky brawlers have a great time on maps like these. And now with Ashe's hypercharge as well, definitely a high consideration. I know that you guys love it over in North America.
That's right.
B as well, got to be kind of up there in the ban considerations because simply it's a great mid brawler to have. And you've got the Division gear as well. You can kind of sneak and destroy, and it is going to be there as well. The Lumi, the Kenji, good to see. And Ashe and Hank, Jae-Young as well, as I expect to see a good amount and healthy amount of bans for him in Brawl specifically. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. This is all good stuff.
Makes a whole lot of sense. From Humble, they're going to lead with that Finks first selection as well. This is no secret, no concealment here. We know that they love this brawler, and we saw how quite effectively it shut down Lu in the last set. So this is going to once more eliminate a pretty crucial brawler that Toxic Lotus might be relying on in the case of some huge Humble aggression in terms of their 5th and 4th picks.
The crowd is getting loud, I can tell you that for free, and that's what we expect to see. It's great that Humble have always got the fans behind them as, again, the champions of the world. You'd expect no less. Nita. first pick from Toxic Lotus, a brawler pick that I quite like, but certainly the range is going to be a little bit limited in that regard. So getting the cycling of the Bruce Bears is going to be quite key here for me. And pushing up the hypercharge, really trying to collaborate that with the Bruce gives you the best odds. Let's see what they're going to be picking as the second pick, Frank. Interesting time to do so, as plenty of time for Humble to consider their response as a counter to it.
I mean, I'm looking at any sort of like thrower, something like a Dynamite could walk all over these couple of selections from Toxic Lotus. Would be a bit risky, since Toxic Lotus does still have a last selection to operate with, and Dynamite would be very vulnerable in that position where anything can be picked into him. But Humble might, you know, get a little full of themselves. We saw they weren't feeling so humble coming into this match. Maybe we'll get a bit of a showing from them. Here comes El Primo. This guy is the counter to Frank. And when Frank became even more meta, it was a bit less of a counter, but I think Primo is a way better tank than a lot of people are tempted to give him credit for. Even into the Nita, sure, he'll feed the bear, but he doesn't care about that bear at all. He can punch right through it. Once he gets that super, hypercharge especially, then the world is his oyster.
They could even double down with a Buster here as well. I think Hésite would have a bit of a tough time into that. So if Humble wants to go double tank here, Spike, it's like not flashy, it's not special, it's not really even currently meta. But it's always been a really good, solid pair of hands. And I don't mind it for that reason. It's one that just doesn't really excite us here on the desk, to be completely honest. But it's never been a bad brawler. It's always been a really good brawler pick to have, and very commonly picked over in South America, actually. But an unusual one for Humble here. I think they're playing it a little bit safe.
I think a thrower could be pretty solid into this. Just have to worry about Boss breaking down all those walls. That might eliminate the option altogether of going a thrower. Max is the math from Toxic Lotus. Won't be any shortage of speed, but it is going to be challenging facing that range matchup against Finks, who has quite a wide shot. Can't really juke that too well, and you're certainly not going to be juking Semantic on the Finks. That plus Spike, very skill-based matchup. You're leading with Curveball, that's quite tough. Pros at this level, they know how to do it, but to have that locked on 24/7 is difficult and it's very draining.
I think the Nita's probably their weakest pick on the side of Toxic Lotus, but they picked it first. So they clearly think the opposite of me. And that makes me excited because it means that they've got a plan for it in mind. But I think the Spike, the Finks, Nita's going to struggle to push up, but it's going to be Engine on it. And hoping with that speed gear as well to get some good value to close the gap already. Semantic going straight onto OU, who is the best person for him to be focusing his attention on. But once the Max and the Frank have their utility and push him forward, that's when I'm going to get a little bit worried for Humble. Look at this, an opening door. Now TSC pushing forwards, low HP, can't really do much on his left-hand side. Engine trying to get the ball to him regardless, but Humble knew they had a good chance to defend that.
Toxic Lotus spread themselves pretty thin now. TOC getting pinched on the left side as Semantic and Lukey claim the kill. With these bushes broken down, Engine is sorely out of positions to take. He's going to have to retreat into the bushes, more close to Toxic Lotus' side. Here comes the speed, but Toxic Lotus aren't really keen on advancing out. Semantic can go for the solo mission. Interception from O, as he cannot be stunned while using that gadget. Shrugs off that push, hypercharge in from Engine to push this line of scrimmage a bit further into Humble's ramparts.
Humble just slowing down the pace. Are you going to smash that entire right-hand side? The bush is now all completely down. Hypercharge there for TOC now. And an additional speed, of course. Trying to find Lukey, but again, the Time Warp is going to make those shots easier to dodge on the side there of Humble. Semantic's got the hypercharge too, and he will be dangerous. It's going straight, landing on OU's head. Hypercharge and jumped over the top of it. Perfect timing there from Semantic. And now with a stupid supplement as well. He's not done yet. Punishing that left-hand side, waiting for the ball. But in the meanwhile, everyone from Humble's down. They're waiting for it to be passed forward. And to be fair, Toxic Lotus took down Humble on the other side of the field.
My goodness, but Primo's a one-man army if you leave him to his own devices. It's back to the slow and consistent mid-play with things wide open on the right side. Semantic is finding a relatively easy approach over to OU. Doesn't even have a stun to do anything with. Now popping down the super for additional shot speed. Semantic now tossing OU up in the air. Ready to receive a pass, but Lukey's not keen on passing it just yet. They want to get rid of Engine and TOC first. Also, they have to deal with this hypercharge out from Engine, who claims the life of Lukey and now pushes this ball over to the right side.
Still no goals seen. This is a prime time here for Toxic Lotus with the speed coming in, the aggression. They've got to get this ball forwards and forwards towards the goal. And it's cleared off the line by Lukey. What a great interception. Semantic now coming back in for the spawn. But if Toxic Lotus has timed this right, they've got the max speed and the dodge to be able to doing it. Semantic goes down for a bit of a fumble. That's a waste of a super, but they should still walk this in just the nick of time. There is no seconds here for a response. Toxic Lotus get a game.
Mainland China is on the map. They told us they were going to come here as a dark horse and play some upset. They're one game in. And for a lot of the folks watching, that is more than they expected, especially against a World Finals grade team in Humble. But Humble had that lockdown for a good portion of the game. I feel like Semantic in particular was being a bit of a one-man army there on the left side.
Love seeing the passion from the crowd, as we will surely see for the remainder of this event. Look at this though, a bit of an opening door, but the burn will see two players fall simultaneously, and Boss there on the line like a rock gets the ball clear.
And now Boss is back to mid to establish the control. With everyone from Toxic Lotus respawning, Humble is already in position to own these bushes. O's trying to scout out the position from Semantic as well. But by the time he finds him, it might be too late. Semantic looking to close in with a gadget, not revealing his position. Toxic Lotus is well aware that he's hiding somewhere in these bushes, but they're not sure where. They're going to place Engine on the right side. Much better matchup from Nita into that Primo. TOC taken down on the left side. And Toxic Lotus are gradually being ground away from this Humble offense. Semantic also dodging the shot from O, who still trades. And Toxic Lotus have the speed out to push things to Humble side.
Yeah, Toxic Lotus is working so well as a team, and now they're already accustomed to the fact that Semantic is the problem. They're making sure to double down on support for OU there as well. So regardless of Semantic continuously winning that interaction, it's the follow-up that matters the most here as well. TOC in a really tough spot on the left-hand side now, juking his best and working with that speed that he's got to his advantage. And now a time warp is going to allow Humble to be able to push forward with the hypercharge boost coming forward. A good connection there from OU as well. He's staying in alive there as well. Top side, Semantic and Boss are staying firm. It's TOC now to try and defend this, and he finds Semantic as well, juking wondrously around the situation. He might go down here. No, the shots from Boss is staying alive, and now some body blocking coming back into the spawn for Toxic Lotus.
My goodness, messing with the guy's muscle memory as well, since he's using Fertilize to stay alive for a little bit longer. Humble have bought themselves a little bit of time. Huge hats off to Boss for holding the line. And now here's the speed from Toxic Lotus. OU a bit timid about moving into that left side. Gonna break open some walls for easier passage over there. Doesn't want to get in close range with Semantic, but it's not his choice. Here comes Semantic to lay down the law. OU taking down Luki with a snipe in the back right corner to put themselves in the lead. 20 seconds to go for Toxic Lotus to bring it back.
That was what Humble needed at just the right time now. Toxic Lotus have got to go, but there's no max speed for it. That's the problem. OU trying to dance with Semantic on his left-hand side. TOC all alone and low HP now. Boss and Luki should see it easy, and they do. And this set now, all tied up, one apiece. Let's see who will take it in the third game. It's so even.
Semantic got to be a little bit worried right now. All three of these players came in with high spirits, and they're being given a real match. A run for their money by Toxic Lotus, a team that has only taken one match on the international stage. They've gotten a game so far. They look poised to potentially take this set. We'll see if they manage to do so. Humble is already coming out of the gate swinging, establishing control of mid. No walls broken just yet. Their positions largely unknown. Semantic possibly looking to be sneaky over here in a matchup that favors him. If he can get onto O, that is far ideal.
For me, OU as well has been timing the noise cancellator gadget to perfection. Just making sure that in that interaction with Semantic that he's able to not be stunned out, not be knocked back. I think he's been doing it really, really well there, but now is a chance to open door here for Humble push for Semantic. I'm not sure whether he wants the ball or not, but he's able to heal up now on the back of the Time Wolf, evading these shots. Easy walk-in goal there for Humble, and a very early one at that.
Much faster than we saw either team score so far, but Toxic Lotus are now trying to establish some momentum up the left lane, breaking open the wall. That's not good for Engine. He's gonna have to rotate over to the right side where he has a better matchup, and so he does. Along the way, trying to dodge the shots from Luki. Can't do that though. No one there sped up by the Fink Super. Here comes Semantic with the ball around the left side. Oh, taken down, wide open goal, pass up to Semantic. A walk in the bottom left corner, and Humble have secured their second set.
What a way for Humble just to really take back control, you know? Such a different game to the previous two, and Humble realized they just couldn't let the clock tick down. They had to take control and be more commanding with things and wrap it up before overtime was even an option. It was a lot closer though. I mean, I'm surprised that that wasn't really a set going the way there. I've talked to loads, but look at Semantic, 14 kills above his head, giving a real tough time towards OU. And despite the max for the evasion, despite the noise cancellations on the gadgets, he was still able to get 14 kills in that game. Unbelievable stuff.
I think there was respectable mentality here from Toxic Lotus. I mean, they did better than Boss on the spike, but he was largely playing control and establishing the line so that when his teammates played aggro and died, they could fall back to him. But Semantic, this is when he found himself a bit too deep in the enemy defense. This was after picking up a bunch of kills along the way, though. Game number 1 seemed to be Semantic running the show offensively for Humble, but he found himself stranded after going a bit too hard. And that one wound up going to Toxic Lotus as they scored that last-second goal. Only 3 seconds on the clock by the time that crossed the goal line.
You got to remember as well that, you know, for Semantic to be able to get that many kills in a map which was basically completely opened up, you know, as a primo, it's not an easy thing to do, not easy by a long shot. Well, Toxic Lotus got a game on the board, but no set remains just yet for them. Can they bring it back in Gem Grab now? That's the question. Can they prolong this a little bit longer? Or will Humble just continue to tear forwards? A lot of support in the crowd, a lot of faces that we've seen in many events as well. So great to see everyone getting behind the Brawl Cup. Let's see if Humble can keep this up.
One thing they need to keep up is their 100% Gem Grab win rate. This is probably the worst place for Toxic Lotus to be. 1 set to go, and Humble in their indomitable state, where they have not lost any Gem Grab at all throughout the entire season. We're 3 months in. Let's see what they have to show us here on Last Stop. Some wide bushes on the left and right side. You know, double swoosh, it has those bushes that usually allow access into the enemy base, allow you to jump out and surprise things. It's even easier on Last Stop. Long bushes that go right to the heart of the enemy operation. It's just your choice whether to take them, and maybe not your choice so much whether you can fend off the enemy that's undoubtedly going to be holding that lane.
But hey, if I'm writing the script, this is where I want to see Toxic Lotus take the set.
Yes.
You know, this is the prime moment in time to topple the team that have got the 100% win rate. It only would seem fitting. But there's a lot of work to be done. But I do feel like Toxic Lotus deserve a set. The way that they're playing against the reigning champions of the world, they deserve it. They have been taking it down to the wire, and I was surprised that they didn't equalize things out in Brawl, to be completely honest. The bans are in. Amber, Hank, and Janet banned out by Humble, to the Lily, the Kenji, and the Ollie then of Toxic Lotus. A good bans all round. Jae Young is definitely going to be available here, so I'll kind of be considering that myself as a potential mid here, but the long-range mids do a good amount of damage as well. Bell, 8-bit, they're all pretty good depending upon kind of what you're looking into. Lumi, yeah, I mean, wide open as a 99% ban, and one that we're just so used to seeing being banned that it's hard to even spot when she is available and picked up immediately by Humble, and you can't blame them for it. But we got to say, you know, the one time we've seen Lumi played in the BSC, she lost.
That's true. You can make the argument that it was left open in the ban phase because it was not going to be a good pick there.
Exactly.
Is this the same time? Well, I think there's some high priority bans here. You got to get rid of Lily. Kenji, they're super oppressive. Ollie's the only one that I can see possibly being exchanged for Lumi. Seems that Toxic Lotus have a plan. They're going to use Jean to scout out these bushes. That will be useful on the lanes. I anticipate that Lumi's going to be holding things down at long range anyway, so it won't really be a difficulty to find her. But since Toxic Lotus do have the last pick, they could get something aggro that takes advantage of Lumi's low health. She did get a health nerf in the last patch. That's really the only way that she was changed, aside from a gadget having an extended cooldown, which that's still a really, really strong gadget. It's going to be supremely difficult to take things down. Now Toxic Lotus are taking one out of the Humble playbook and going for the Finks.
But the question is, are they doing it because they want it, or are they just trying to take it out of Humble's hands? That's the question here. I think for me, Buster being on the lane side here is a phenomenal brawler to consider. Whether Humble want to go for that and pair it with a Lumi, because maybe Lumi wouldn't have the best of times into it, to be completely honest. Being overthrown with that HP and the additional speed from the speed gear in the bush. Toxic Lotus could be considering that as a third and final pick on their side here, so Humble have got to have some ideas at their lane sides, and Tara are going to be coming in from that front. I mean, the Hypercharged Edition is definitely not a bad one, but it can be tough to retake the lane. If you've established yourself, that's when it becomes really hard to push into, so I don't mind it. It's not too flashy, but it's not too bad.
Tara is a must pick on these gem grab maps that have long bushes. Gem Fort is a perfect example of a gem grab map where it's actually worth it to just ban the Tara. She can be that oppressive. Now, there is a possibility of getting a good matchup here for Toxic Lotus. I have a feeling that they're going to lean something towards like the Buster that you mentioned. They'll make a great pairing with that Jean. Okay, Piper here to out-mid the mid from Toxic Lotus. Gene is really only going to be tickling things from long range. He's not realistically going to be able to get a pull on Tara. It's going to be tough to do so against Piper in that range matchup. I think this is quite nice for Humble. They've really rounded out this comp. They've gotten 2 solid lanes. They have their mid. Toxic Lotus, mid established, last lane to go. What are they going to do, especially into this Lumi?
Luke is a fantastic Piper player as well, so Squeak coming over Toxic Lotus wasn't really kind of what I was expecting, to be completely honest. I was thinking that they might want to play into the Piper a bit more heavily on that regard, depending on what they were considering for that mid. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be the Gene, but I mean, Gene can still play a good lane side with the vision gear as well, so I mean, it's that ability to be able to adapt along the way. But the Piper's definitely a bit of a head scratcher for me, and you know, I'm grateful that it's in the hands of Humble because I know that they can play it really, really well. But Toxic Lotus, you know, I think that may have been something that they were not expecting. Squeak, certainly with the sticky residue, despite the cooldown being relatively high, I mean, it's going to be a good way to oppress the lane side for sure.
You can also run down the Lumi if that's the angle they decide they want to take. They're going to put Engine on the left side, and it's going to be all about scouting open that left side. TOC also out with Vengeful Spirits, and Semantic is fended off for a bit longer. He's going to be returning to this lane, and Engine needs to keep a close eye. His gadget did expire, and he knows things are going to be coming over there. Luki now also peeling for Semantic to potentially get in an aggressive position. Semantic also dodges the damage. Boss with a kill on the right side as O is taken down, and this is huge. Boss, though, he's not moving from this position. He's perfectly happy with where he is on the right side.
And this is the thing with Lumi for me, was that the nerf wasn't really even the best nerf in my opinion. Like, the star power is the best nerf that needs to be there in the future for me, because the slow is so oppressive, and Boss and Luki are going to be working so well in that regard together. Getting the slows and then getting the Piper connections is the play. Nice freeze there from Boss as well. Look at that TP away on the Fink side. Good quick thumbs as 9 gems to Luki, looking for that final one from the mid. Good tap on the TOC as well. Magic hand evaded. The gem still stays, but look at this. This is just absolute carnage, and Humble are in full control.
The spin and the chicken pin up in the air. Humble are not leaving anything up for grabs for Toxic Lotus. 10 seconds to go. Toxic Lotus need a big push in. They got to go for Luki, but he could not be further away. It's just Engine remaining from the roster, and he's so far away from Luki, it's not even possible. Humble, unbelievable dominance here versus Toxic Lotus so far. They're onto a match point.
It's a very solid comp, no doubt about it. And I think our reservations on Lumi, as we were discussing coming into the match, as to whether it's the best place for it, and is that why Toxic Lotus left it open? I think they can be put to rest. It's working out phenomenal. Boss playing it to perfection. It's a great synergy between the Lumi and the Piper as well. And I think if I was Toxic Lotus, I'd be getting worried.
It's a worrisome matchup. But they do have the advantage on the right side to boot. Boss was forced back, and here comes O to try and take it. It's being also similarly pressured. But the mace is out from Boss. No damage just yet. Luki also similarly scouting. Engine looking for a victory on the left side. It's an easy takedown into the shades. It's O falls on the right, and now Boss can start to pinch in versus TOC and Engine. Another elimination traded out as Semantic falls, and Toxic Lotus seem to be in a better position than last time, but Humble still owns all of these gems.
Nice dodge there from Luki, who was low HP at the time, but played to ease and perfection, and a nice homemade recipe there with a follow-up to secure the kill, leaving Engine alone on his left-hand side lane, who does find Semantic, gets a couple of taps for his time as well. And now he has got the black portal to hand on the left-hand side, so Engine's got to be very, very cautious. And a nice sticky residue to force the hand. There's 7 gems to Humble, so the 3 there of Toxic Lotus, so now a bit of a retake. It's going to be Toxic Lotus in the mid, and Luki now can get some target practice, to be completely honest.
He's winning this range matchup versus TOC, for sure. On the left side, though, Semantic is bound to fall. Engine only needs 1 more shot, and TOC is trying to establish the pressure. There's the takedown, and now Engine looks to close around the right side. Luki's only 1 shot by him, or TOC if he can hit the full shot, but Luki's keeping the distance effectively. Big damage out from Engine. He was ready for Semantic to come in, and here's the hypercharged Squeak Super. Making contact with Luki, 1 more shot into him would take him down, but no, this guy cannot be moved. Though Humble is still all the way back in their spawn. Toxic Lotus looking at a crazy comeback.
Yeah, doing exceptionally well. Oh, and Luki falls down here as well, so Boss has got to protect those gems, and those quick shots were bang on. Semantic is the last one on the right-hand side, and he is tapped to 2, and this should be Toxic Lotus now, retreating with the gems. Humble behind on time, 10 seconds to get this countdown reset.
And counting down to 5. Need to see all the mobility in the world for Humble. Semantic popping that hypercharge, now getting pulled in. A bit of damage for the guy, had the super, but couldn't get it off in time. Toxic Lotus, the Disruptors, the Dark Horse. No 100% win rate for you.
But towards the end, I think that was a lot closer than people realized. I mean, Semantic almost was able to get a super off. If he'd been able to do that and Luki was able just to get that Piper tap, those gems could have dropped. So, I mean, I think there's still a bit of a saving grace there. Toxic Lotus were able to keep the time on their side. They only just managed it. Can they get this set? Can they topple the 100% win rates that Humble currently have on gem grab?
Humble seem to be unfamiliar with the definition of insanity. They're trying the same thing again, even though it didn't work last game. They placed Semantic on this left side versus Engine, who shut him down time and time again. Semantic possibly thinking that he'll just get the leg up if he hits his head against the wall long enough. Now he's getting double teamed by TOC and Engine at the same time, falling once more. But the right lane does belong to Humble. It's a certain advantage for them, but the gem count is looking far more equal.
Semantic there, trying to make a connection, finds Engine. The follow-up from Luki is spot on. OU in the mid there as well, and now again more target practice for Luki, but he's got to retreat. That Gene Magic hand is dangerous. Oh, but maybe not. Maybe the taps are still bang on the hypercharge popped. The follow-up not great onto OU, but Luki almost had a chance there to secure the game himself single-handedly.
Toxic Lotus, they were looking so strong in their position. Oh my goodness, oh! A mechanical master. Dodging that shot from Luki in the last second. Luki has the advantage with 7 gems strong, at risk of getting pulled. He does have the super, which is a certain advantage. Takedown for O on the left side. Luki taking a lot of damage. It's starting to look a bit familiar. This is how the last game went, where Humble found themselves backed up into their own mid, with a threat of the Gene super looming eternally, but also a change in the lanes, as Boss has moved over to the left, and Semantic's on the right, staring down the squeak once again, but here comes the hypercharge up from Tara. It's a total whiff!
How do you miss that as well, by the way? The radius is huge. So Semantic was quite a long way off. Magic hand, though, from TOC. Dodged away by Luki. And a nice gadget yet again from OU. He's been really quick on his thumbs on this gadget front. But now with 10 gems, it's all down for Toxic Lotus to get this reset. And Boss still in position. It's going to make that a terrible task for Toxic Lotus, but there is still hope. There's not much time, however, to push back. And with Luki having that super as well, the evasion is going to be there no matter what for Humble. And that is going to be it. Humble will secure it. They get the match. They get it done.
3-0. Our second of the day. Both of our EMEA teams showing up the rest of the competition, showing why they are such a strong region and positioning themselves potentially for another spot. But it's only day one, folks. That's only match 1 of Group A and B finished. Toxic Lotus, they threatened also to take things down in gem grab. They looked also quite strong in Brawl Ball, a much stronger showing than I personally expected to see from mainland China.
Yeah, honestly, I think we're going to see a lot more from Toxic Lotus still to come. For Humble, a good, solid start, but they look a little bit shaky in some of those sets, so we can't deny that. A bit more on the side between them and SK. I think SK looks stronger out of the 2 European teams today so far.
Well, we get to hear from Humble themselves. Let's take it to the stage.
Semantic, the slayer of the Dark Horses, it would assume. Not gonna lie, they didn't make it easy on you, did they?
It was quite difficult at some points until we adapted again and then got the win in the end, yeah. But they definitely played really insane good.
They did play extremely well. I think they surprised a lot of people here and obviously the community that are watching online now. A lot of people, they tend to mention, you know, pressure of performing when you are world champions at anything, right? But actually, having spoken to you over the past few days, you seem to be under a bit less pressure. You don't really feel it right now, do you? Unless it's, you know, maybe retaining that world title.
Yeah, I mean, we got what we wanted, being a world champion. That's our only goal for now. So like all the pressure I had over the years is just gone. We're just playing to win, we're playing for fun. So it's like way easier to tackle something like a LAN like this now, which is really, really cool. But yeah, it's just, pressure is just so much easier now.
You're looking relaxed and obviously you're doing the right thing because you're in the competition. Tomorrow you live to fight another day. Semantic, thanks so much for joining me in this post-match interview. We're going to send it back over to the desk to continue day one.
Thank you, Barney, and thank you, Semantic. Humble as always. He said he's just here to play for fun. Looking at the stats here, I was so close to just saying, oh, Finks is always going to win today. It just seems Toxic Lotus, even though it was a 3-0, made it close in the end.
I think Toxic Lotus found their comfort area. They had the lanes that they were comfortable on. And Humble, for some reason, they kept playing into it. As soon as the strategy shifted up, that is where Humble finally found their footing to bring things back.
They already won at least one game in Brawl Ball, and we have that moment ready. We got to listen in to their voice comms.
走上去，走上去，没事没事。哎，走进去，走进去，走进去，走进去 ，nice！
Go up was the call, and they did. They did almost turn around Brawl Ball in the third set. It got close one more time, and it's such a treat to listen into those player comms, right, Hark?
Yeah, I mean, super energetic. We love to hear that. In rehearsals, they were very much more on the quieter side. So definitely, I think that for Toxic Lotus today, they're looking a lot better than I think a lot of people think.
People at home got to vote once again. On the website, event.brawlstars.com, you can vote for your MVP. And for this one, it's going to be Luki, the sniper.
He popped off in that final set. Can you really argue with it? You tap on the button that has the biggest numbers. And we were a bit questioning the Piper as well, and she absolutely popped off. She locked down both of the lanes. She had the escape to deal with the Jean as well. I think overall it was a quite intelligent pick from Humble.
Are we going to ignore the glow up? Sorry, I've got to say, I mean, Luki's glow up. Come on, guys. What an amazing feat. I mean, who saw that one coming, eh?
A good haircut and lenses can do a lot for you.
Yeah.
Luki looking amazing. And so does Humble standing right now. They're 3-0, both EMEA teams today. 3-0 so far in round 2, waiting now for their opponent. It's going to be either Tribe Gaming or Loud.
This is going to be an exciting one. Tribe Gaming and Loud is bound to excite the best in North America versus the best in South America. A rivalry that I think is bound to continue to develop over the course of the day.
So make sure to stay tuned. It's going to be another match that is really, really exciting, and I hope it's going to be a little closer. So far, we only had 3-0s. I'm sure the day isn't going to continue like that. We're going to take a little breather, going to be right back. Teams from around the globe made it here to Dallas. We're at DreamHack, and with 3 matches already out of the way, we're back in Group A now. We're in a TSL-style format. That means that we have Group A playing their matches all against each other, round robin, then Group B as well, and only the top 2 of each group will make it onto Day 2.
This is going to be exciting to watch. A bit of a familiarizer with the format as well, as we've already played through the first one of Group A and Group B. It's all about getting to that top 4, and then the prizing comes in.
And of course, who wouldn't want to get an additional regional slot at the World Finals for their own region? And the storylines that can come off the back of that, they are the 2 groups that we've got here today. And of course, everyone fighting for that #1 spot.
Make sure to get your predictions in one more time here. Is it going to be Zeta Division? Or is it going to be Elevate taking this next one? Finally, NA has a chance. I'm sure Reddy's super excited. Are they going to win this one 3-0 as well?
I don't think so. Well, if you're asking, is NA going to...
What? Where's the NA hope?
He's not even... look
goodness.
at this.
Well, do I need to change my prediction now? I don't
believe this.
Boring Z's all the way across the board. I'm falling asleep,
You're not even cheering for your home region. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable.
Kenny didn't either.
It's
crazy.
Disgraceful.
I can't believe you're calling me a turncoat here on the big stage.
Since we're all voting for Zeta Division, let's talk about them. First here, they are the menace from their region, East Asia. did a pretty good performance so far and also have a World Finals champion amongst their rows. The other two, Suzuki and Levy, didn't shine as much just yet. Last year they did lose to Toxic Lotus in the LCQ, but now with this addition from Tetampo in their roster, I'm sure they're gonna do amazing today. I actually have them put down as one of the potential candidates to win that one World Final slot at the end of day 3.
I think, actually, Zeta Division has the best chance of anyone to take this World Final slot. They've looked so dominant in their home region, and it almost seemed unlikely at the beginning of the season. We see Shitetampo leave his former roster of Crazy Raccoon to pick up Levy and Suzuku from Navi, who didn't even make it through the Last Chance qualifier last year.
We also have from them a short statement, a little insight into how good their form right now really is.
エレベートの試合は、ドラフトをまずうまくやってミスなくプレーして負けを恐れず勝ちに行きたいと思います。
With Tetampo's experience and the team's recent form, they're going to be a formidable candidate to take it home.
And they are the mechanical geniuses. They have got skill that is unmatched across the world, and that sort of technique has just been beautiful to see. I mean, you got to remember as well, coming into this competition, they've never looked better. Not a single set dropped in the April monthly finals. You know, they dropped the semi-finals in February, but they're coming into this stage of the competition looking the best they ever have.
In the past, we've always talked about how mechanically skilled they are, maybe not looking as great in the draft side. Now they're saying that's going to be their strength. Let's see, their opponents are looking very strong in that department. The draft is phenomenal. They had some Cinderella runs with reverse sweeps and strong finishes this season. Came even close to winning it all in April when they already had to play with a sub.
It's wild, and Patchy, also that aforementioned sub, is going to be playing as part of their main roster today since Diego couldn't join us on the big stage. Vegeta, Evex, also phenomenal players in North America. During their rookie runs last year, they didn't really make any major waves. It qualified for a couple of monthly finals here and there, and all of a sudden they came out of nowhere. This super dark horse at the beginning of the season blew everyone away, taking second place after second place. They are aggressively second place, but that's pretty darn good when your competition is Tribe Gaming.
Patchy brings some LAN experience. Vegeta and Evex don't, so they finally get to play in front of a live crowd. I'm sure they're very hyped for that.
For our upcoming match against Zeta Division, we're pretty excited. They're obviously veteran pro players, but we wouldn't be here if we didn't beat veterans already. So just really excited for the game.
RQ obviously voted that Zeta Division can take this one, but Elevate did something in an A that not many teams were able to pull off.
Well, my reservations are, do they have the confidence in themselves? You know, having spoken to the behind the scenes and media and that kind of thing, they're kind of, you know, a little bit in the spotlight for the first time, really. And my question and my reservation with them is like playing Tribe Gaming in the grand finals every single month, always coming second. It's the same team every time. So having that kind of broader outlook is where they're kind of lacking a little bit, and it's not their fault. They've been consistent, but consistently second.
So we know what's on the line here. It's NA versus East Asia. The only thing we still need are our players. So let's get them in.
Two veterans leading the charge for their respective teams. DreamHack, it is Elevate versus Zeta Division. From North America, it is Patchy, Vegeta, and Evex for Elevate. And from East Asia, it's Shitampo, Levi, and Suzuku for Zeta Division.
We don't have Diego Gamer this weekend, but we do have Patchy. He's back, coming out of his retirement. On the other side, we have also one of the players with a lot of LAN experience. He made it all the way to the finals in a world final already. So I do think Patchy and Shitampo are going to be the two we have to look at here.
I think so too. And also, this is a player that Patchy has played against before. Last year, especially, played against Crazy Raccoon in the group stage and didn't make it past then. I know for a fact that Patchy wants his revenge.
I want to get out to the stage to get the merch. I'm not going to lie. Please, you guys, this I'll be right back, right?
Maybe if just I go and you two keep the position.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down.
Right?
Wanna?
Nice. Okay, bye. We're going to head into this third match of the day already. The first two were 3-0 sweeps. Now, this one was a bit harder for me to predict, honestly, and I do feel like this is going to be a closer one. At least I hope so. Give us a close match, please.
And I think the difficulty for me especially comes from the fact that Yes, Zeta Division, they are the mechanical geniuses. They are so good at this game, and they've even filled the hole of the draft that the team usually struggled with. But Elevate, they're less of a known quantity. They came out of nowhere in North America. It really does take an international event like this to see how things truly stack up against each other, because it seems so variable between international lands.
And due to visa issues, we unfortunately don't have Diego Gamer with us this time, so the adaptability of this team is going to get tested this weekend. But they had the same roster already for the April monthly finals, so they should be set, Ark.
This is the most convincing poll. I'm just going to draw attention to the 94% that's on the screen, to the 6% for Elevate, which I think is unfair. I think that Elevate have got absolutely a shot here. I think that you cannot underestimate a team like them that don't have as much pressure on their shoulders. You know, you look at the Tampo over the years, he's a world champion. You know, you just have to consider that in mind, that Elevate have got a chance to topple their idols potentially here.
It's a fantastic thing, but you also listen to what they said during the interview. We wouldn't be here if we hadn't beaten champions. The champions they beat, they sent down to the top 4 in North America and kept them from making it here to the Brawl Cup. They have that confidence at their backs. And like you, Ark, speaking with these players, when they say that they're confident, they have a good reason.
We're heading into our draft now. Kaboom Canyon is going to be our first map. We haven't seen that one today just yet. We saw a lot of things from the previous map. Okay, never mind. Finks seems to be one of the best new brawlers right now. He didn't really show up in the previous meta. Now with few balance changes, he's actually been untouched. He still seems to be the brawler of choice for many of those teams.
It's a brawler which has taken a bit of a while to kind of get and find its footing in the BSC, but now a first pick worthy thing to see, and Zeta Division wasting no time at all to pick it up. I quite like that for them, and it's going to definitely consider the long-range brawlers that Elevate might be having on their minds here, because again, that time warp slows everything down. Carl's not even great into Finks, by the way. That pickaxe takes a long time to get returned, so for Elevate's sake, I hope that they are trying to time those to perfection and choose different lane sides of the Finks.
Yeah, I think you got to stay away from that Fink super, otherwise it's going to be a little while before that pickaxe comes back to you and you get to reload your shot. But Carl is still really, really solid here. I think he wins some good matchups. He had the versatility of deciding, yeah, you know what, I just want to get mid for free. Go for the flying hook in, or you can go for additional safe damage onto a brawler by utilizing your other gadget. Here comes the Lola, and I think the Lola was sort of guaranteed by the presence of a Carl. They have the exact same range, believe it or not, but there's the added benefit of the fact that Carl's pickaxe is going to slice right through Lola's ego. There are other ways to deal with this. In fact, one of the most popular picks in East Asia is Bell, and I wonder if Elevate are anticipating that into the Lola.
I really love that call from you. I think that Bell here is definitely up there as the prime candidate. They've used it everywhere, and against the Lola, it makes perfect sense to consider it as one of the biggest counters to her at this stage in the draft. Angelo, brawler which is not often even seen as a second pick, often it's a first pick brawler to have here. Surprised that Zeta Division weren't thinking that to begin with, to be completely honest. Definitely up there as a really tough one to deal with, and has a lot of mobility in that mid, of course. So Body, okay, interesting. Body's been reworked, of course, now, so being able to go between cannon form and leg form is certainly a much easier affair, and you're able to stay in position better. So we had this conversation in the rehearsals around Crow versus Bonnie now, and it seems that Bonnie is creeping forwards a little bit as a different option. Of course, we've got to consider now the high game mode rework itself, with the safe having different stages to be able to pierce through in that stage of immunity. Bonnie's now coming forwards a little bit in the meta.
Yeah, and Crow's just not as strong as he once was, because now there's a cap to how much damage you can do to the safe in one go. It's going to be 25%, or you can find some tech, if you want to call it that, to get some extra damage on the safe. Meg is the answer. The way that Meg is going to be playing this is trying to juke out the shots from Angelo. I'm going to say that Elevate tried to lay a trap in this draft. They really wanted Zeta Division to pick up a Bell, and if they then picked up the Angelo after that, they would have been committing way too hard with the snipers. And Zeta Division, they didn't fall for it. They're not going to go for it. They're picking the better brawler right now. They don't need to pick the hard counter. And this is the mentality of Zeta Division so many times. They don't need to go the thing that hard counters the enemy team because they are so confident.
A very aggressive team. And Zeta Division have got to land a lot of these shots. We're surprised not to see the bow. We had that discussion as well backstage, and was one that did escape through the picks. The Meg is definitely a North American idea, which they do champion quite a lot, and it's got to prove to bring in the results.
Let's see if Evex can properly sneak around the left side. He's facing long-range matchup versus Shetampo. Plenty of damage coming in on Elevate safe as well. Now drop below 75%. On Zeta Division side, they've managed to fend things off. It's all in Elevate spawn right now. The mid belongs to Zeta Division. They are not going to be letting this go. They have Suzuku in the perfect position. Patchy now with the super going to the enemy side. It's time for Suzuku to play cleanup. Needs just one solid shot on the Patchy, but he cannot really afford to play this game. Needs to go for the pinch with Levy. It should be an easy victory. Patchy farmed up a bit of super there as well, so not a horrible matchup. And Elevate have equalized the score.
Sugar rush there for Levy, and he's been tapping this game so far as well, getting some nice timed runs onto the safe, getting the damage of which they need. Only 4% in it now, as at the moment Elevate trying to push their way forward to get to that safe to even out this scoreline. It's pretty balanced, pretty even for the most part, and there is that little shred of damage now that Elevate have been able to take the lead of. And they can sit back in the mid and try to get some more use coming through. They want to get Patchy on the safe ideally, so timing that run is going to be quite key.
Well, they do have plenty of damage coming out from him now. Shitetampo now retreating to the bushes. Here comes Vegeta in with the hypercharge, but it's an exchange. Bonnie going for the enemy side, denied by Patchy, and Vegeta gets to lay into the safe. It's so much damage, down to 36%, and the control resumes. They fall back exactly as they need to. Play the control game if they must, because that is what Zeta Division is going to try and play, is control, holding onto that bush as long as they possibly can.
Yeah, Patchy did really well there, but coming back in now, wants to get that utility to hand. Levy as well, pushing forwards, and probably not too many shots away from a jump, and he is going to be going in now to the safe, which has just got to come back now to deal with it. But Patchy's on the safe, getting the damage of which they need on the side of Elevate now. 25% damage, and now the pickaxe throw is going to be bouncing against the wall. 10% now for Elevate to be able to secure, but now a chance, 15 seconds on the clock for Zeta to have a response.
Just a few seconds to go. Zeta Division, it's time to put their foot on the gas. They have 3 members strong versus a hypercharged Meg. Patchy completely idle. That's the confidence right there. Hands off the controls. You're not getting past all of this, but dang, that was close in the end.
A new form of BM enters Brawl. You'll love to see it. I mean, the confidence, you know, I'm sure some at home are just sitting back thinking, the disconnect is just going on here. What's happening? No, that's the nature now of the rework of Heist. There's a bit of a cooldown period, the immunity on the safe as the stages trickle down. So if you're that confident, you know that there's only a matter of time to get the damage of which they need. They were so confident with how much of a head start they had, they could sit back and do nothing.
My goodness. Well, they came in knowing that they were going to give Zeta Division a real run for their money. That's game 1 for Elevate. They're looking at another one. Already an elimination for Levi on the left side, or rather right side, taking down Patchy. Avex cleans up afterwards. A little TP back from Shitetampo to keep up the pressure onto Vegeta, but they cannot get these bushes just yet. They're gradually isolating enemies and whittling them down. And they've actually pinched everyone in at a risk of getting a double kill here. Patchy on his last leg, same for Avex too. Levy in with the damage on the safe. Zeta Division finally getting that inaugural damage on Elevate's side, and they've taken mid-control.
Good tanking there of the ego from Vegeta. It diminishes what Angelo can really bring to the table in terms of damages. Oh, Patchy almost found a little path through, but got stuck there on the lake. Just a little bit of a miscalculation. Good taps again from Suzuku. Keeping that aggression on, finds the safe 1% away from getting that stage down, and they do. Now they can breathe a little bit of a sigh as the safe's got to reset now, and then they can go on the aggressive yet again. This is the first time that really Elevate have been under pressure.
They're feeling it 100%, but they have gotten some hypercharges and supers farmed up in the meantime. Avex going in with his hyper. No plan of using the super. He's going to have to earn it. Patchy getting the kill as well, and now he's off to the races onto the safe. But Elevate is trailing so significantly, it's going to be challenging for them to get Levy out of this position. Suzuku also repositioning over to the right side to assist, and Patchy, oh my goodness, what a teleport from Shitetampo for the defense. Now Zeta Division get to refocus onto Elevate safe as a whole team.
They had to clean up Patchy. I mean, he was running damage gear as well. That was substantial. And now Zeta really turning all the screws. MX they're going to probably burn down to the poison here. If Suzuki can tap, finally lands the shot to do so. But low HP now, he's got to consider using super, holding onto it yet again now. Shitetampo can come in to help in hands, left-hand side lane. Patchy going to come in, finds one, might find two, no, Suzuki gets it. From the right-hand side, Levy getting the damage onto the safe. And this is a much better game. Zeta Division now are the ones that are doing the damage, and it's actually going to be Elevate that are staying still in the spawn because they know it's over.
No wasted movements from these guys. It's curious also to see how people react to a losing position where Elevate, they know they're going to win. take their hands off the controls. You don't see that as much in professional play. That's because, by and large, these guys are quite a bit fresher to the scene, particularly looking at Evex and Vegeta. Already a kill on the Apache. It's a great start for Zeta Division. They have locked in. They've demec'd Evex as well, but Stetampo is going to be taking down Suzuku. Could get pinched. Evex with the dodges. The straight lines are crazy. Suzuku knows he has that pinch. And there's the jump away as well. But Vegeta is still connecting with this save. Meanwhile, Levy is doing tons of stuff on Elevate's side.
Yeah, Vegeta did well that right-hand side, but now pinch between rock and a hard place in the mid. Tambo trying to use that time warp to get maximum damage onto Evex, but Apache's found a gap on the left-hand side. Suzuki finds a tap, but they've got to get this pinch yet again and waste a bit of time. It was nicely done, though, on the side there of Zeta, and it was clean. On the side of damage, 36% is all that is left on Elevate's safe. Zeta are continuously keeping up this aggression.
It's going to be challenging for Elevate to find themselves out of this position. Everything has now moved over to their home front. Stetampo also looking to get a super that he can use to shrug off Evex. Also trying to close it in close range. Manages to demec. Now looking for more. A couple more shots would take him down. Vegeta and Evex survive. But the most important thing is that Bonnie has now connected with the Elevate safe. Finally taken down by Patchy. Levy's going to be respawning in just a moment. Elevate have now finally managed to find their footing at mid. Patchy's taking a whole lot of damage and he'll have to retreat momentarily. It doesn't seem like Elevate has successfully managed to hold on to mid for any extended period of time after game number 1.
Yeah, it's definitely been a different shift there as Levite gets taken care of actually now by Elevate. Good defensive work by them, and Vegeta now onto the safe as well. Tampo very low here, is going to be very cautious for when he chooses to shoot and when he chooses to heal up here. Elevate getting back into the mid, bunching together, healing up accordingly, getting ready for another push in. And they do need to keep up this pressure. It's a very, very tipping point situation now because with the amount of damage that Zeta Division need, Elevate can still have a chance to steal away this set.
Elevator looking dangerous. They know if they attack in the last 20 seconds, there won't be enough time for Zeta Division to get to their side. They're trying to survive until then. Levy with 1 kill, takedown on Patchy. Evex is the last one remaining, but Suzuki doesn't even care. Gonna vault right over his head. Only 12% remaining on Elevate's safe. Levy continues the pressure. 15 seconds to go. Patchy and Vegeta know it's over as well. Hardly an effort to get into mid. With 10 seconds still on the clock, they're not wasting any movements here. They know that's a Zeta Division win in set number 1.
A confident showing from Zeta to start things off, but a close set nonetheless. Elevate starts off so strong, almost overthrowing what Zeta had to throw at them. But then, as Zeta starts to get themselves warmed up, taking more of a substantial lead, and they ended that set, for me, the stronger of these two teams.
Let's look at these stats as well. My goodness. And this is why Angelo is so good on this map. It goes against really the whole MO of Heist. It's about getting that damage on the enemy safe, right? Well, if you can kill the enemies, then they can't do any damage to your safe. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and he floats right over that water. It's so easy for him to take mid. That is why he is a top pick. I will also rotate back to the draft mentality. I think Elevate tried to catch Zeta Division in a bad situation where they were tempted to play a brawler that was so popular in the region that would have been absolutely perfect into the Carl and the Lola. They would not bite. They are not taking the bait.
To have Angelo as well get 15 kills against the Carl that can really maneuver around a lot of those shots. The Meg that's got a second stage before she falls down as well. I mean, the Lola's got the ego to tank. The timings that Suzuki had to land a lot of these kills were spot on. And definitely a solid start there by Zeta Division. But I think we get to see more Elevate that can certainly come forward. I think Elevate can definitely bring a step forward. They just need to kind of go in as they mean to go on. I think it is the key there for me. That first game was looking really, really good for them. They just kind of lost confidence in themselves along the way.
And I hope that doesn't affect their performance in the next set as well. Really, mostly above anything, their confidence, because I feel like that can be a little bit frail for this team, especially them being new to the competitive scene, just really appearing within the last few months. Out in the Open is coming up next. This is going to be a bit more of a slower paced one. We're moving into knockout as well. So 1 life per round for each of these players. Once more, very matchup dependent. There's not much of a potential for comeback. If you lose a member early on, then you've sentenced your 2 teammates to fight a 2v3, which is almost unwinnable.
I'm looking ahead to the 5th set as well. It's Gem Grab Hard Rock Mine. That's an Elevate map. But they've got a lot of work to do to get there. That's the problem now for them. They can take it there for sure. And if they do, I do worry a little bit. I mean, one shade ban for them, and they're going to be putting Zeta Division in the back foot there. So out in the open up next for knockout. Certainly, I want to see Angelo banned. The prime candidate of that left-hand side lane. I think Buster here can have a pretty decent time as well, for sure. But the heavy suspects, the Lumi, the Kenji, they've got to be out there. There's no way around it, really, for me. I think Lily here as well could be on the bans, not there. So interesting stuff. I think Lily's in a very, very good spot, and I can see it working here very, very nicely.
And noticeably, they have been banned out. I feel like of any map, this might be one that you can get away with getting rid of it. Yeah, Kenji, completely open. Lily, totally open. The struggle with those is that you have to play pretty aggressive in order to get your super and your hypercharge. And it's a bit of a solo mission when you put yourself in close proximity with other brawlers in a mode where you can only afford one life for each round. Here comes Angelo as pick number 1. You mentioned this art. This is really one of the strongest picks on this map. Zeta Vision left it completely open. Don't seem to be bothered by the fact that Angelo can hold down that left lane quite effectively off the beginning of the game.
Yeah, you kind of have to ban it for me. I'm surprised by the loot ban, actually, myself on the side of Elevate there. An interesting choice for me, but the Angelo's going to be paying them dividends, in my opinion. Zeta, as we saw in the previous set, even are a team that would love to get their hands on that. Now, Gus, for me, in the hands of Zeta, is quite a dangerous thing. I think that they are, on the long-range side, very, very accomplished with brawlers like that. And we were saying before today, it's not the flashiest brawler. It's dropped off a little bit, but in their hands, it can work. Now, Eve coming in is definitely the second pair of hands to the Angelo pick. It's like the sort of hand-me-down sort of clothing to the child of the family. And I actually really quite like it. I think the hypercharge can have a lot of pushback potential, but you prefer to have the Angelo, let's be honest.
You would. It's just the better thing to have to float over the water and take things early on. What we can say, I think quite confidently, is that Brock is not going to be a major consideration here, since there's already a really easy way of getting some mid-positioning by floating over water. So now, the 4-5 from Elevate, they're going to go with the Hank. Okay, and that's why they banned out the Lu. They want to have this powerful brawler. They could just get a Gray over for Patchy if they really wanted to. It would be a bit too much to go with another aggressive brawler that would be able to position itself onto Gus in close range.
I wouldn't mind some wall break here either myself to have that additional lane made for yourselves in the mid. Maybe Zeta might be thinking that with the Brock pick maybe as the final one. It could be playing hard into the Hank. Hank's going to soak up so much of that damage. And if they go with a heal combining with this, so Meeple, oh, I love that. Love that from Elevate. Of course, the Mansions of Meeple gadget can just tear through so much of the bush, but both gadgets, to be fair, work really well. I think Meeple's often forgotten on this map. It's a really, really good brawler pick to have, and I think the Elevates are a team that play it so, so well. I mean, I was even watching back with the VODs in the previous monthly finals. You know, Patchy, I remember that moment where he was able to place down the super followed by the gadget and preempt it, and it was just wonderful on this left-hand side. So I'm now really favoring Elevate here in this draft. These are brawler picks which they play so, so well. Here's the final thought for Zeta. I don't think it's enough to sway me so far. I think Elevate have got a solid chance here.
I think Elevate have a comp that leans heavily on trapping an enemy inside of the Meeple gadget, inside of the Mansions of Meeple. There's no reason for them to go the other gadget, the one that stuns, cancels enemy abilities. So they're going to be trying to get someone inside of the dice towers. And we've seen that that can be a quite difficult task, because in order to do that, you have to get close enough. And we're looking at 3 quite long-range brawlers from Zeta Division. And realistically, you're going to be running Meeple sort of towards mid, more on the left side. We'll see where he finds his footing. Yep, Patchy going to go for mid, immediately blocking out some of those bushes, eliminating the positions for Suzuki to stand in. Big Sting also at risk of taking down Patchy, but he's got the dodges on lock. Big thing also affecting Meeple's viability in the competitive sphere right now. He got a damage reduction, which means that he doesn't 3 or 4 shot as many brawlers as he did before, which is a really, really hard hit to his kit.
I still feel like this is the comp that Elevate wanted as well, though. It's the question as to whether Zeta can work around it, because Meeple's quite devastating in the regards of being able to open up the map. And again, another gadget coming down, the dice blocking off there. Suzuki and forcing everyone to the right-hand side, but Spitapo almost took care of that with a cheeky little gadget there as well, forcing Patchy back as Evex there on the left-hand side, trying to find a connection from Levy and not really finding it.
Zeta Division have pushed Elevate back into their spawn. With a poison against their backs, it could not be more difficult. Evex now at risk of feeding tons of super, going to try and get something on the Levy, but comes up empty-handed. The range matchup is being played perfectly by Zeta Division right now, despite some pretty good dodges from Elevate. Doesn't even matter that the bushes have been broken open. Zeta are still in the exact position that they're comfortable with. For this to work, Patchy needs to get someone trapped inside of the gadget. That's when Evex can shoot through the wall. That's when Vegeta can use Master Archer and get 4K damage through the wall as well. But it comes down to 1 point of failure, and it has not succeeded yet.
Suzuku's so dangerous on this B pick. Running insta-B load as well, so 2 followed up amplified shots is what makes him so dangerous. He's not running the gadget as well, and there's the blocking with the dice. Tampa's got nowhere to go, but the follow-up is not there. Patchy does not have super, they cannot pierce through the wall, and it's a bit of a saving grace. Zeta can escape away from that. That's normally certifying your death.
They've got a hypercharged Gust Super out here now. All that does is to accent the fact that Zeta Division have pushed Elevate against the ropes. Evex almost nowhere to go. He does have a bit of health to work with, but he's staring down the barrel of a slow, potentially out from Suzuku. A bit of room afforded by Patchy, but the first kill now comes out onto Vegeta on the right side. Patchy and Evex fighting for whatever they can. Levi also with tons of damage. A super out from Evex. He's in the poison. He's suffering. It's 2-0 in game 1.
A little bit worrying for me, because this is an Elevate map, it's an Elevate draft. This is their comfort zone, and Zeta are taking them out of it. The speed pick, I really quite like. You know, it's always going to be working well into the Hank, but it's the star power choice that's making it so devastating. That second opportunity to land an amplified shot is not often seen in competitive. It's often running the shield. Now, jumping straight into the mix and pushing Zeta back early on, separating them out. Leve on the left-hand side's got nowhere to go.
Okay, and Elevate now trying to cover their tracks with a hasty retreat. Seems to be successful so far. Big sting coming out from Suzuki. Looking for a target. They have found themselves in their own spawn. Vegeta's having quite a tough time finding shots on enemies. He did get one onto Shitetampo just a moment ago, but he has yet to actually take down an opponent. Elevate, they seem to be missing KO potential. They're really playing for the moment where Patchy traps someone, but the one time that they did, no one was ready for it. It's almost as if no one expected him to succeed.
Now the gas coming in, as Zeta have got all the range they need, but a nice dice tower there from Patchy. Pushes the motion over to the right-hand side now, as the Rattle's Hive coming from Suzuki, not going to find anything at all. Tampa's got the shielding as well, could choose to use it, but it's not going to be going for it just yet. Evex still staying alive, and now finally Elevate can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, but it is just a round. They got a long way to go.
A short time to get there too. Let's see how they fare. Zeta Division once more in a similar position. Elevate decided not to double stack that right lane this time. Zeta Division didn't seem to reposition accordingly either. Both teams were aware that that trick was only going to work once, and whether it worked at all in round number 1 is a questionable judgment at that. Zeta Division have good utility on their side as well. Shitetampo's not going to be taken down by Vegeta most likely, since he is ready with this super. He's playing with fire though, now healing up to 4K. He's safe from another shot from Vegeta, who is dumping these arrows like it's no one's business.
Yeah, Shitetampo has to heal. Now the hatchlings won't come in. Nice tap there from Vegeta, lovely stuff from him on that Angelo pick. That's taking away some valuable utility, but the positioning here for Elevate is not great. The dice from Patchy is the saving grace, and he's already getting ready to use it now. Popping the gadget at just the right time and evading that shot from Leve as well as they push forward here. Now's the time for Zeta to strike here, and Patchy's low here. Evex taking some shots as well, and the Vegeta low. Zeta looking much better in this scenario. Evex down to 420 HP, surviving, but they drain each other out. Patchy falls 2 versus 1, 1 versus 1, and it's going to be Elevate that stays standing. They get a game on the board, finally.
They've done it twice. One game off of some of the best in the world as fresh faces to the Brawl sphere. But that was hairy towards the end. Vegeta really had to clutch up there. Major difference in game number 2 is that Vegeta was finding his target quite reliably. It seems like Elevate were relying a little bit less on getting Meeple to trap someone inside of the dice towers. This time though, Elevate seem to have no urgency at all in terms of getting out of spawn. Hey, they've won this matchup more than once already. They did it twice in the last game, where they sort of sit back, they farm up their supers, and then they can get Vegeta to do a lot of the heavy lifting, especially with the use of the poison.
think this is our best chance of seeing a set taken from the other side of the field today. As again, it's a map that Elevate love. It's a draft that really benefits them and tried and tested in the monthly finals to get to the Brawl Cup itself. Let's see. They never seem to be too worried about being on the back lines as long as they've got the dice tower for Patchy, who's timing it now on the left-hand side, no doubt about it, and there it goes down. Levy now has got to reconsider where he places his shots. Nice taps out to Patchy. That places Patchy in a bit of a perilous position. Evix falls though now, 3 versus 2. And Zeta have got all the HP in the world to get this done.
Shrugging off all these attacks from Vegeta and Patchy. One falls, Vegeta looks for another. Hey, at least he's closer to that super. But it's a round win for Zeta Division. Only 1 life left for each of these Elevate members. Zeta Division can take them down here and go ahead and pick up their second set. It's looking mighty dangerous. We're even seeing an exchange in terms of the lanes that are being played. Evx now also moving over to that left side. He's trying to stay in range of Levy. Levy's trying to bait him out as well. Baits him right into the rattled high from Suzuku. Excellent play from Zeta.
And Levy now hypercharging in as well and cycling to perfection. It's going to be tough for Evix to land these shots into the hatchling, so he's going to be depending on Patchy, depending upon Vigis now, as the gas not going to be too far away. Dice into the middle now as well, just trying to heal back up accordingly. It's always a risky thing pushing into Zeta, and Zeta have been in control for the majority of this game so far. It's going to be very, very teetering now for Elevate. The gas coming in, we've got to have a dice again from Patchy, and hopefully around, because otherwise this one is going to be a sticker in the way of Zeta.
Vegeta's trying to bait out some of these shots from Shitampa before he can safely advance in. Now he has the super ready. Evx also with a super to keep himself alive. Hypercharge out from Shitampa, huge damage. Vegeta stays alive for a little bit longer. Evx gonna fall. Another one from Shitampa. Patchy falls. Zeta Division with their second set.
That is composure. Zeta didn't break a sweat. Towards those final stages, so comfortable. And it could have been where the sets were evened out. A map that Elevate had a great amount of power in and a draft that benefited them. A tough game for Evix. I've got to point out immediately in the stats, it's a donut for him. Hank pick as one that we've seen coming in today, and up there as the #1 brawler in terms of the picks. It's just falling off a little bit, but against the B, against the Gus, against the Eve, just wasn't really going to be able to do too much for them.
This is a rough one for Evx especially. I think more often than not, we see Evx put on the most difficult brawler on the roster. He doesn't mind taking up that mantle. And in this moment, he sat back most of the time. He got a few shots here and there, but one moment that stood out to me was towards the end of a round in game number 3. We saw it was Levy on the left side who pushed up, tried to bait Evx into position, stayed perfectly out of range, didn't get hit by the bubble, baited Evx into getting hit by every single one of Suzuku's rattled hive bees. That's team comms right there. You can't hear it, but you can see it.
This is the team comms as well. Good energy from Patchy. And it's not out of the question for me for Elevate to be able to come back in this series at all. I mean, we've seen some great moments from them. They got a game in that set, and we saw in Heist as well coming in that they were really prepared and ready to take on Zeta, who are a very intimidating team. No question about it. Just going into the next sets now, a chance to reset. Being 2 sets down is quite a scary position to be in. And you really have to dig deep and believe in yourself, believe in your teammates to come back. But they absolutely can. Again, I'm looking ahead at that 5th set being gem grab. That will favor Elevate. I know that Evx will be looking for that buzz pick if they can get there. That was the first memory I ever had of Evx, was seeing him go to town with that buzz pick on that very map. So I would love to see it go the distance. But one thing's for sure, being 2 sets down by Elevate in a matchup where they're looking ahead thinking, can we really do this? Can we really come up with a big upset? Because it would be an upset to topple a team like Zeta. They've got to do it here on Ring of Fire.
I think the answer to the question of do they have confidence is still a resounding yes, because they've gotten a game victory in each of the sets. They know that they can take down top players, but to see it actually realized is a whole different beast. They now know that the Giants can bleed. They've taken a game off of them. They've gone to set point 2 times in a row. But Patchy is all too familiar with this feeling. Last time he faced Shitampa, he went all the way to set 3 as well. And that was the final set in that best of 3. I think he's getting a little bit tired of going to the final set or just getting 1 game win in a set.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. Fink's first pick from Zeta, which I think we're going to be seeing quite a lot in Elevate. Going to pick up the Lola pick and the Ash. Ooh, okay. Ash map, being able to support those lane sides or take the mid control as well. It's definitely in the minds of Suzuku. I mean, that man on Bell, it's disgusting. It really, really is. But Leve as well is a fantastic Stu player. And on this map, I think that would be a very good consideration. It's going to tickle Ash, let's be honest, but it's great for having the additional speed.
I'm a little bit curious about this Draco, since in many cases you should be able to outlive that Ash, shoot directly through the Ash Rats as well with the Dragon Breath. How is he going to be assisted? I don't think this is really a solo Draco mission. Elevate still also have the room to respond to it if they wish. We're thinking about that Bell. Do they decide to go for it? It would be great into the Lola. It would be awesome into the Ash. It can get overwhelmed. I think she can die in stupid ways sometimes because she doesn't have any CC. Hank, the passive tank, is now going to take all of that health that was available in the drafting pool and centralize it over towards Zeta Division's side. They picked Hank, and they picked really his #1 counter on Hot Zone. So this is a tall order for Elevate.
Well, they've got the potential to have heals off the back of the Lola star power here as well, but still with the Kiss. So, like, that's quite concerning for me on the side of Zeta, who've opted to not really go with any heal approach. If Elevate wants to double down here with a potential Poco or something along those lines, yeah, additional heals, it's scary. Now it's really scary. And Zeta didn't really have that in their back pocket. They're going with brute force, brute aggression, having the Draco, having the Hank, not bad brawler picks to have. But if Elevate can really, harness that healing quality and just stay firm on the mid and have that in their back pocket, oof, this could be a tough thing for Zeta to push into.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Pam's Gadget interacts with the Hank, because that Scrap Sucker is quite interesting to see. The Hank bubble shrinks, actually, and Hank in general doesn't like anything that can interrupt the bubble or, I guess, shrink the size of it as well. Draco could suffer into that as well. There's still going to be just huge balls of health, but that's fine. There's plenty of DPS on Elevate's side. We're in for set number 3. Zeta Division has picked up 2 in a row. They could cap it off here.
Well, MX already in a tough spot here on the left-hand side. Tampo trying to be going in here on low HP. Got to be cautious himself. Meanwhile, G-Spin in the mid has already a healing station to help him stay healthy, and the Ego as well. Like I said, Zeta are going to struggle to push into this many heals on the map. So